Untitled Movie Podcast. There's monkeys all about me. Untitled Movie Podcast. They are a professional podcast.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Listen to me very carefully.
You're me.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Look who's talking.
You're a funny guy, Sully. I like you. That's why I'm going to kill you last. Don't bullshit me.
Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Bullshit! Get to the chopper!
Untitled Movie Podcast. There's monkeys all about me. Untitled Movie Podcast. They are a professional podcast.
Here comes a new challenger!
I unmuted, motherfucker. Get out of my face, cord. When you've got silence and are ready to go.
Oh, fuck it, that's gonna be in it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerditude Movie Podcast. We're here for the second week of we don't really have a name for it, the Arnold May movie madness bracket.
Sure.
Arnold Madness.
Arnold Madness.
Sure.
Mad Arnold. I don't know.
So, this week's gonna be a bit tougher. So the first week, obviously last week was T1 Twins Commando. Commando won.
Yeah.
And in my head, it was close with Terminator 1 for me, but Commando was definitely the better film.
You gotta go with Commando. Here's the thing: is Commando the better film, or is Commando the more Arnold film out of the two?
It's 50-50. That's like the most Arnold film, especially for when was that?
85 when it came out.
85.
I mean, think about it this way: it was literally Arnold Schwarzenegger's response to Rambo. Like Rambo 2 came out the same year. Like that was him going, "I can do it too. I killed in this movie." Like remember in Last Action Hero, which we'll review. Last Action Hero, where he's like, in this movie we did the body count much less. We killed, in the last movie is 82, in this movie is only 54. And he says only, like they literally was the response to Rambo. Yeah, exactly. Like that's why that movie is so beautiful, and I can't wait till we watch that one, because that one truly is a gem.
I love that movie.
One of my favorite man. I'm excited to watch those movies. I'm dreading doing that review.
Because then you're paying attention to more than just watching it.
Not only that, but how are we going to pick? I mean, we're not going to give them away yet, but think of the last week of movies. How is any of these 3 weeks even relevant? I mean, let's just be honest. In the bracketing system, like, are any of the movies now really going to win opposed as the fucking final week of movies? I still want to do it.
Probably not, but I mean, we'll get our runners up.
That's the other thing. We're having two brackets, so we're having winner and then second place, and then honorable mention.
Each week, yeah.
Honorable mention can be movies that aren't even in the bracket that we just didn't throw in, that we didn't review, that we're like, we do like this movie though.
Yeah. So for this week, the three movies we have are Total Recall. It almost would have been Running Man because Matt and I were going to watch the wrong fucking
What is
movie.
wrong with us? Why are we both stupid in the same ways?
You guys are anxious to get to it.
Dude, Lewis and I both watched Running Man. Or I'd already watched it, so I was like, I watched this a week ago. I'm good. And then I talked to Alex the one day. I think it was even on stream, and he's like...
It was on stream, yeah.
He's like, no, it's Total Recall. And I was like, well, let me check my notebook. Sure fucking enough. Wasn't Running Man.
So, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop, and Eraser. Which, since we're doing these in chronological order, some of his best work is his earliest work. This is another one where Total Recall is the first film.
I mean, here's the thing, man. True Lies. Think of when that came out. That was 95 or 6. Like, That's pinnacle Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's his plateau. Like, after that, nothing was as good as that movie. Or Terminator 2. Like, that's the problem, is he had back-to-back. Terminator 2 was, I think, 93 or 2 when it released. And then he comes out in 95. James Cameron comes out with another amazingly action-packed, comedic fucking Arnold flaunts every fucking talent he's got. Like, yeah, I can't wait till we maybe review that in a later time.
Yeah, and that's True Lies. That's Bill Paxton's third.
Yeah,
that's one where he pees his pants. If
we lost him, sir.
Yeah.
But, we lost him.
So we're gonna start off with Total Recall. So this came out in 1990. This is a nerditude familiar. Paul Verhoeven. Was the director.
It's got the signature Paul Verhoeven violence too. I love it.
It's based off of a Philip K. Dick story. We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, which I was not familiar with this story. I am a big fan of Philip K. Dick. Minority Reports.
Not going to edit that
Philip
at
K.
all.
Dick.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna edit. I'm a big fan of Philip K. Dick in any bad ways.
I'm a big fan of the Dick.
Well, I don't have to edit anything now.
He's dude, Chicago native also.
Here's the thing is, I haven't read it in a long time, but from what I remember, it was much more focused on the technology and the societal problems of the control than being an action-packed movie about saving Mars. But, I mean, in fact, Mars really wasn't a big thing in it. I think it might have just been where it took place, or at least was discussed in.
You know what? Now I'm remembering why I started watching Running Man. Because in my head, like, I was reading a Stephen King short stories book, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna think of like differences for the movie, and I started watching it, and I was like, wait, no, I'm supposed to be watching Total Recall. That's why.
Stephen King's Running Man is my bathroom reading material right now. It's on the back of my phone.
So, I'm going to bring up for all three of these movies because I think as we go along it gets interesting. So this movie, which Matt has the 4K copy on iTunes.
Very good looking.
The movie looks beautiful. Yeah, so budget 50 to 60 million, box office 261 million. Now remember when I say the budget, because the next two movies have a higher budget. This movie looks beautiful compared to the next two movies, which is crazy.
I mean, Eraser. When you, I don't know. When I watched Eraser again, it wasn't that bad. Sorry, Alex, I cut you off.
I was saying it could also go towards the people that they're paying, the star power that they have.
Hey, look at how we all thought about the CG on Godzilla, and that's a brand new movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
think about the entire cast that's in this. I mean, who was anything at the time?
Yeah, but when was T2?
92.
91. 91.
Was it filmed in 91? I don't think it released in 91.
It says it's released in 91.
I thought that was 92.
Because
July 3rd, 1991.
Oh shit! Wow, T2. Well, that late.
I'd honestly like to see. I wonder if I could find like how much Arnold was getting cut paychecks for each of these films.
See, here's the thing though. Arnold was smart. He started taking off the back end. So he would get paid an exorbitant sum up front, but then he would get in his contract. He'd get a percentage off the back end. So he's
like what he did with Twins in Junior.
Yep.
He was thinking long term versus.
Yep. He was going. You know what? Front. I'm a smash hit motherfucker. Like I'm taking some off the back end. And that's part of my contract now. If you want me in your movie, I get 20% of merchandising, and I get whatever percent of DVD sales, and whatever percent of this. Yeah.
Any toy that does not look like me, I don't want no part of.
If it doesn't look like me, you put it at the dollar store. I don't want it. You get my hair right? No, nobody gets your fucking hair right, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
If it's a T800, I want my face over it.
Right. Listen, I saw your bullshit toy with my face that comes off and it's metal. Bullshit. I'm happy.
So, I mean, we don't have to go through the whole cast. Obviously, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Douglas Quaid.
You got Hank from Breaking Bad.
Michael Ironside as Richter,
a.k.a. Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does
Ronnie
Hank
Cox
play again?
Who, Michael Ironside?
No, Hank.
He plays Tony.
Yeah, he's
Tony,
he's
yeah.
that, you know, when he's like, you know, that
The guy
nerve
with
showing
extra-
that nerve showing your face around here, and he's like, look who's talking.
Yeah.
So rude.
The back brain guy.
Yeah, who ends up being pretty all right, you know, helps murder
Yeah.
the bad guys.
But yeah, so simple. I mean, if you're watching this, you've probably seen this movie. But kind of set up for this movie, Douglas Quaid, who is this burly man who has a beautiful wife, and for some reason,
And Sharon Stone's okay. Way back then, she
Oh,
was
this
really,
version of Sharon Stone was really nice.
yeah,
Nice and-
she's much prettier in this than Basic Instinct. Like she was.
Yeah.
This is before Basic Instinct, right? Or was it
I'm
after?
looking it up right now. It was. I
Yeah.
think this was her first big
Okay,
movie.
so this is almost like before Hollywood destroyed her.
well, it's kind of funny because this movie starts off and like you have like she's a pretty lady, and are they married? Are they married?
Yes,
It's
sir.
supposed-
They've been
yeah,
together.
it's
Yeah, they
supposed
were
to be
together for
good.
8 years.
Yeah, she's a pretty lady, and he's obviously a big hunk, like hulky dude. He's kind of like a dingus, like before he
Yeah.
goes to recall.
Literally,
Like-
his job, like he's a nerd basically, but still his job is like I just do jackhammer.
He's very interested in news, and he just likes to jackhammer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just kind of like a weird guy.
And was it me, or did he move a lot more than his fat friend did?
Oh, Harry didn't move at all. Harry's like, ah, fuck this shit. I do my method. He does his. Fuck him. You don't pay me to look like him. You pay me to be Danny DeVito light, so he's fucking looking at somebody somewhat familiar. He's happy
Now-
with me.
The interesting part of this movie, as far as story wise, and I don't know if it's like this in the short story, is that people, you know, these people that don't have time to go do things can go to this company Recall that can implant memories into them, and this is where we'll go into it, the like if it was a dream or if it was not.
Real quick, this is the first time watching a movie that I actually realized Recall was spelled with a K.
So here's the thing, though. I was like, go ahead and finish your thought because I have a thought on it too.
I've never seen that until
When you see
I
it on
saw
the monitor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they
And also,
show it?
I was watching subtitles, and every time they said Recall, it was REKAL.
So here's the thing. It's not named after the place. It's after when he's getting total recall. So it's the movie's named after him getting a total recall, not the
Yeah.
company. I found
Right.
that to be an interesting differentiation as well. Like I caught that too. Like, oh shit, it's spelled with a K. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but like, so one thing that kind of played through my, which I guess we should just say, like the movie, the premise is basically he goes to get the memory implanted, has a freak out, and then finds out
So when he goes to the recall to get a memory implanted, they don't even get it implanted in him because they say he's got a memory blocker and it fried the fucking system what they were trying to do, and he's basically now waking up from that memory blocker. And here's the thing: there's two theories, and it, in my opinion, it starts from the very moment the movie starts. Two theories. One theory is, and this is what we'll discuss after with the review, is he dreaming the entire time or is it all real? Those are the two theories that are out there, and there's evidence for both, frankly. But yeah, those are the two main theories. So when we talk about, like, we'll discuss that, that's what we're referring to. But yeah, he goes to recall, they go to implant him, they realize that he's got a memory blocker, they discuss that it's got to be the agency, which is a shadow ops that runs fucking Mars, that's colonialized it. So they basically, after shooting him up with enough tranquilizer to kill a horse, they dump him in a Johnny cab. I
love Johnny Cab.
He's one of the best characters of the movie.
I love that actor too. He's in Inner Space too. That's
Which one is that?
he's the cowboy. Inner Space.
I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
He's also in Star Trek too. Some other.
Yes,
Star Trek.
okay, it's the guy I'm thinking
He's
of.
the doctor. He's the doctor. Yeah.
He's always like the swarmy, smart-ass guy
Yeah.
in like the comedy. Okay, yep, exactly what I thought. Good, okay. Yeah, no, I love Johnny Cab in this movie. Like one of the fun. And I mean, and let's give the movie credit. Maybe it was just the new fucking 4K remaster version, but the green screens weren't terrible. Like there was
No.
scenes where it was like, oh, okay, shit, but I think what they did is why it's so noticeable is they built big sets, and then just the windows were green screens or blue screens, because I'm pretty sure they had to use blue screens because they had so much red lighting for Mars.
Okay.
So I haven't watched the documentary that I think is in the extras, but I would imagine they use blue screens. But you got to imagine these were giant sets they built, like when they go and they climb on the bars and he goes to shoot it and he's like, "You'll blow the dome!"
Yeah.
Like that scene was a big fucking set, and they just had blue screen windows.
Man.
Like, I think this movie's awesome, dude. Like, there's scenes that you don't even really pay attention to, but that when they're chasing him at one point and he's controlling the Johnny cab, and they shoot out the windows, and then when they cut to the over the top view of the car, the Johnny cab spinning, you see the glass hitting the ground from the windows they just shot out. Like, there's shit that they show in
the detail.
Yeah, that I didn't. Maybe you don't always pay attention to these things. Like, it's really. I'm watching it to review it now, so now I'm critical. But there's things in all three of these movies that I only noticed. Well, besides Kindergarten Cop, actually, that I only noticed this time watching it. And we'll go into the one about Eraser later.
The scene with the X-ray. I'm sorry, the scene about the X-ray machine when he goes through it. Did you hear it? Every time they would go through it, bzz, bzz, every time somebody would go into the X-ray or come out the X-ray,
yeah,
you would hear that. Bzz.
Yeah.
Now, if that was real life, I'd be a little uneasy about going through that shit.
I'm almost positive. My theory on it was them getting off the treadmill. Them stepping off and putting the most weight on the edge of the treadmill.
Okay.
Because they had to time the actors. I guarantee you that wasn't done post-studio. That was probably a giant LED panels or giant panels that they literally had the CG skeletons walking.
Yeah. And
I guarantee those actors had to time it because they all come out. I think that might have been the treadmill they were on, the moving sidewalk, making the zoop, like when they were getting there, like putting all the pressure to get off.
Because it does it when they go in, and then it does it when they go out.
Yeah, and if anybody's ever been on a treadmill, when you put most of your pressure on it, it hits the bottom a little. I think that's what it was, but I don't know.
Oh shit, that's funny.
So I was looking up kind of like theories that sway back and forth, and one of the ones that threw me off was like when he goes to recall, they don't actually implant him before he has the freak out.
No.
So in my head, I'm like, if it's like, how could it not be real? Because they haven't actually implanted him with the memory.
But they did give him a sedative that brings him down. So you don't know if it's that's one of the things that I can't tell if he goes into into his dream from there and he wakes up in the secret agent ego trip.
Are we going to discuss?
That's what it's called, the ego trip.
Are we going to discuss the? Yeah, he does mention that, right? Are we discussing the theories in between, or are we just going to do them at the end? Because I can start right now with mine if you'd like.
Well, I didn't know which way Lewis is going, so that's
Well, we could jump back and forth. I did find this interesting thing I wanted to bring up though. So Steven Spielberg's Minority Report, which is obviously a Philip K. Dick story.
I want to review that. More of the worlds we should do.
Was apparently intended to be a sequel to Total Recall in its early stages of development, pitched in 1992. This whole paragraph sounds weird. It would have featured Quaid in the role Tom Cruise carries, with the Total Recall Martians having psychic abilities that allowed him to see glimpses of the future. This would have meant that Total Recall's events were real if the sequel carried over, as opposed to being a dream. That's interesting.
So the precogs would have been the muties,
basically,
I guess. But I mean, this like from a movie standpoint, it's left ambiguous. Like the movie doesn't outright tell you, but it does a good job at the end of being like, so what do you think happened? Like,
and it wasn't like one of those movies where they throw it at you saying, this is what I want you to think, but this is what I'm going to make it seem like.
My theory, the entire thing is a dream, and the dream starts when he wakes up. Because
wakes up like at the very beginning.
When he wakes up sweating at the very beginning, that's all part of the dream, and he's fucked up in the mind from recall. Because there is subtle hints, like when he goes to recall the salesman, which you could just take his salesman speak, or if you dig deeper, when he goes, you were looking at a what again? Like he's been there before. So there's a familiarity with him. Also, things like the whole package, the obvious clues of the entire package he chooses is exactly what happens, down to kills the bad guys, blue skies on Mars, he's the hero.
He also has 3 instances where people try to take him away from wanting to go to Mars.
Yes.
His wife, the best friend, and the doctor.
Now, here's the thing, and this is where they distort the difference between, is like scenes like she comes back into the fold and pretends to be his wife again and innocent towards the end of the movie, and she ends up turning on him again. But once again, he chose the secret agent profile one. So, like, that's the thing is, like, I think my theory is from the moment the movie starts, I think the scenes after the very beginning where they're on Mars, that's the end of the memory. That's where the paid memory ends and where the next dream begins, which is him reliving everything. I think he's in a psychotic loop that just continues the memory.
So he's the friend that had his brain fried.
Exactly. Remember when he said when he goes not again? I think the guy that had the schizoid emblem before was him on the initial trip. That's why he's remembering it. That's why they're even talking about it.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
Harry goes, I had a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I thought too, is if it is a dream, maybe he had that conversation with Harry for real, and in the dream, I don't know if it's like him remembering.
The supporting cast is doing everything they can to get him not to go to Mars in any capacity or recall, because they know that they're all, if it's real, if it's all a dream, that means these people are at some point in his life, because she's not the girl he chose. So what she is something else. So there is a possibility she is his wife, but everything in his mind takes his real life friends and people and adds them into the memory. That's the thing. Like, I think it's a repeating process in his brain.
I get that.
I'm gonna end up wanting to watch this movie over again.
Here's a question that I have. If it is all a dream, why does he get to see the point of view from people that are not in his situation? Like, why are we seeing Cohagen? Why are we seeing Richter?
I thought about that, and I mean, that could be a cop-out thing just because it's a movie, or it could be just because, like, in his mind, this is what he wants to happen, so he can go through these.
I think the problem, the problem is from a movie-making perspective is unless you're making the movie in POV, you can't film. You'll have a third of the story because you'll only have his perspective. So, I mean, I don't know. You could. That's the whole thing. Is it's the secret agent package, right? So they're implanting any memories they want, right? So theoretically, they're going to implant the memories of the bad guys, so the person in their head knows the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a programming. Then it gets all technical. From the programming standpoint, how do you get that person not to react to the thought that they've already seen, even though they're not a part of it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you get him to react to it, but not react to it because he knows it's going to happen? It's playing in his head. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too deep into that part about it.
You mean like how they wouldn't be conscious that they're in a loop?
Like, how does he not realize that what's going to happen next, because he knows that the guy's part of the story? But he thinks it's all part of his.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Yeah, is if it is him and it's all mental, and that's if it's repeating. It could just if it's repeat. You know, the other thing is it's all in the conscious. So it's like if you're trapped in it, you're over and over. You know, it's Groundhog Day. You wouldn't remember. Well, unless you're Bill Murray.
And then what was the point of making the detail of the other doctors sweating?
I think that's to throw you off. And that is one of the points that you can make of, like, well, he was physically there. Like, like, if this was all in the chair, like, this is actually happening. But then again, if it's in Quaid's mind, he's going to think of reasons in his head to get out of that situation in that reality. Mm-hmm. To make a decision. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can... I do truly think from the moment the movie starts, that's all the implant and all his scrambled brain. And it's gotten to the point where he's taking real elements and fake elements and putting, like, this movie, you could literally end it where he's in a fucking insane asylum and the staff, if you wanted to go horror movie way, and the staff is all the supporting cast. Benny,
all the supporting cast.
Yeah, Benny's like a cooker or someone he likes, You got his best buddies, like his brother or somebody or a friend or somebody who comes to visit him. You know, maybe he got injured at the construction site. You know,
I would say Benny would be the orderly that pushes him from room to room and talks to him all the time, and says, "Hey, I'm going to take you here because he's the taxi driver."
I thought
Cook
Cook because he's always like, I got 5 kids to feed. Like I thought that'd be a funny thing, you know, like
it's almost like a riff off of another movie that I really like, Shutter Island.
yes,
kinda.
yes.
Yeah.
'Cause Jen argues with me, and she's still dead wrong on what the ending is of that movie.
Man, I was looking it up because you brought up the Arnold taking a cut off the films, and I don't think people give this dude credit of how fucking financially
Business savvy?
smart he is. Yeah, so like this movie negotiated a $10 to $11 million cut plus 15% of what the movie made.
Ooh, and that was what 200. How much did it
Holy
make?
shit. It made
250,000, something like that.
261 million.
So he got, what is that? That's $26 million he got from that movie, plus 11 up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, the motherfucker was smart. He knew. Like, that's what The Rock is doing. That's why The Rock, you see, he's part of production companies and shit. He knows his brand is valuable, so now he wants a piece of the action. That's why The Rock isn't in small movies. He makes too much off the back end to not have a big budget movie.
Sorry, usually I do research on these movies because
That's his
there's
12th
three
film,
it's-
and he made that deal after his 12th film.
Arnold
Well, he probably had
obtained-
it before, too.
He obtained veto power over the producer, director, screenplay, co-stars, and promotion, and he personally recruited Paul Verhoeven to direct the film.
Oh shit!
Dude, Arnold was smart. Holy
He
shit.
pulled a Hulk Hogan on the industry. He had creative control. We know. I guarantee you why. Because I guarantee you he was the one that was like, no, you're not putting "I'll be back" here. I'm gonna say it here.
Right.
You're not gonna. I'm not gonna do this line here. I'm gonna say it here. Like I guarantee you that's what or the Terminator wouldn't do this. Although I imagine him and Cameron, if that was this case, like even back then, I would have hated to see some of those shouting matches.
Oh yeah.
No, he wouldn't do this. No, the Terminator, he walks like he's a fucking robot. And James is like, Arnold, you have to calm down. We have to make this move. He's just all calm. And then
So
you
this is
piss
like
James Cameron off, and he's like, listen, you European fuck. Go ahead.
This is like his 12th film, and so 84 was he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I would imagine
8.
after Commando
this is like
did so well, he probably started sneaking that into the contract.
Yeah, out of 12, this was his 8th, like the 8th one where everything was like in a major, like a major thing. So Terminator, then he had Commando, Raw Deal, which was kind of a big
I don't know
deal.
how well that actually did, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I said. It's kind of it was released in theaters, but it wasn't.
It's
And then
James
Predator,
Belushi.
Running Man, Red Heat, then Twins, and Total Recall.
Red Heat is James Belushi. I like Red
Yeah.
Heat. If you haven't watched it, I think I have it on iTunes. It's a good romp.
You do have
Cocaine.
it, yeah.
No, I do, because I can't find anything that talks about the production as far as like the practical and animatronic effects in this movie, because they look good, but this is a
It has its
1990. It's a 1990 movie, which means these practical effects would have been awesome technically early 80s, but they still look cool.
Two scenes that stand out to me is this one right here with Quado and this one right here with the lady.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2
no,
weeks.
my favorite effect is the device in the nose.
Yeah.
Do you think that they bought? Do you think that they bought the molding for the Terminator one though? Because that's how the makeup looks for this one. and for that.
It's better in this one, bro. Like
Yeah,
you gotta give
it's
it
way
credit.
better.
It's way better.
But it's
It's
I
not
don't
now.
know, close.
It's not now good standards. It's not
Right.
any like.
Coming
It's, for one thing, that's actual CG and not puppetry.
coming from the 80s horror love genre, like I like shit like this in this movie, like I die for. I love the effects they do. 'Cause, I mean, this is 1990. That usually movies around this era would have been shitty CGI.
Yeah, I mean, I think it holds up.
or really
considering,
bad makeup.
Yeah, considering it's
Yeah.
an Arnold action movie, technologically it holds up. But that's all due to Verhoeven. He was a pretty advanced guy when it came to. I mean, look at Starship Troopers. That was '97, and that CG is still
Yeah.
not terrible. Like, he did a good job. I mean, The other thing that, and maybe it's bad for me to say that I love about this movie is the graphic violence. Like the first half of the movie's got some violence, but it's not terrible. And then the second half kicks into full-blown Commando, but better. Like people actually had gunshot wounds in this movie.
So just out of the 4 guys that he killed at the beginning of the movie, how many bullets do you think went into the 3 guys that actually got full bullets? Only one got his neck broken.
That's one of my favorite scenes because you get the quotes of "What the fuck did I do wrong?" as they're carrying him around. Like that's like, but that scene is like crazily brutal.
Yeah.
Like it goes from like, oh, this is a mysterious movie to like, he just broke his neck with his boot, shot those 2 guys, broke this guy's neck with the fucking underarm carry, like if he would have DDT'd him, I'd have respected it more though.
Do you think if that very first scene of the when he wakes up from the dream, if that was removed, that you'd probably skew more middle ground of if it was a dream or not?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
Is Mars
like,
Nightmare?
That scene's a big deal because like his best friend flips. But the problem is they set up that scene with him giving him the weird look when he's like, Harry! Harry! And like the guy's like, I can't fucking hear you. And so they both shut off their fucking jackhammers, and he kind of gives him that look after he talks about recall, like, motherfucker, like covers blow, like shit's going wrong. So it's like that also gives you the tip of maybe it's real, maybe these are people put into place. But once again, is that just the mental representation of these people that have been implanted to try to break him free from the dream?
Yeah.
So the opening scene is them on Mars, right? The 2, Melina and him.
Yeah, and then it goes to where he wakes up from the dream.
Or whatever, and then they wake up. Okay.
Yep. And like that's the thing is like, and considering the beginning ends differently than the end, it does give credence to the idea that the whole thing is starting to like just scramble. Parts of it are real people, parts of it are fake. He's turned the implanted idea into his own thing now. Like it is taken. Like I think by the end of the movie, what they're saying is he's done. Yeah, it's taken him over.
You know what it makes me think of? It's my favorite Black Mirror episode. You should know what I'm talking about. It's got Kurt Russell's son in it.
My favorite episode.
The best Black Mirror. Alex,
which one's that one? Which one's that? I've seen a couple seasons.
All within what, 0.3 of a second?
Yep. Yeah. This guy basically goes to
video game studio.
Beta tests this like virtual reality thing, and it turns out that he just instantly just dies as soon as he tries it.
They tell him not to.
I might have missed it.
Check it out; it's really good. They basically tell him not to bring his phone in, and it ends, of course, in a very bleak Black Mirror way. The whole thing that it is he brings his phone in to sneak photos, and of the technology, and right as they activate it, his mom calls him, and the cell phone wave short circuits the chip. So he goes through this whole episode of these. It's a horror VR game. He goes through all these scary fucking situations. And then at the end, they let it up to let you know that it literally, as soon as they booted it up, it fried his brain, and this whole thing was his brain dying, basically.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because thinking of that makes me think like maybe Arnold is in a loop.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is that if it's not a loop, then the idea is that the memory of Mars has taken over, the implant has now taken over, and it is melded with the rest of his brain, and there is no more real life to him. He's literally a veggie just sitting in a hospital bed right now, and this is what's going on in his mind. Like that's the way I take it. Now, is Sharon Stone his real life wife? And that's how she gets brought in. But then you got to ask but then there's made up people. Is she just made up from the implant? Because if she's not made up, Richter's got to be made up.
Yeah.
Because he's not in anything. Copenhagen's got to be made up, or Cohagen's got to be made up. So like, that's where they really. Yeah, I know, right? Obviously, Quado is made up. Hank is made up. Like, that's the thing is, and they also give clues that maybe it's a mental thing because all he does is it's nothing but Mars-related stuff he looks at. Yeah. Even the news, the vacations, it's all Mars.
turns off the fucking news to turn it back on right after he has the discussion about not talking about Mars. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, what is it? It's 2084. I love like the 80s, 90s movies that have a vision of the future, and it's just like CRT TVs.
Yeah. For some reason, Mars is like a steampunk type aesthetic. Like literally, there's Jack in the Box neon signs. The one was named Sharper Image. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. I just like the future aesthetic of the pre-2000s movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is takes place 2084, so not 60 something years away, 63 years away.
Yeah. 2084. I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Well, we've already had Back to the Future that was kind of like sorry, my kid was getting my attention.
I would love to review those movies, the whole trilogy.
But like how much of their shit came true? Like a good chunk of it.
Almost.
Yeah. Oh, that year. It was the next year though.
Yeah.
It was the next year.
It was close, man.
Yeah. Rocky was almost on point.
Well, I like the Spaceballs Rocky. Rocky 5000.
Yeah, no, I'd be down to do the Back to the Future movies.
I love them.
We've talked about doing like either trilogy or series. Like we talked about the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka. I don't mind the Johnny Depp film. There's definitely a lot of cool scenes in it, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I am thinking maybe we get together for a one-off on the Patriot for Memorial Day.
That would be fun.
Was that because of the birthday greeting I made for you?
I do, yeah, I did like that greeting. I saw that, and I don't think Jen and I, she doesn't love, obviously she's only seen that, I think, movie that one time, but yeah, no, I showed it to her. I was like, this is what Alex showed me after the axe throwing photos. And she's like, and I'm like, oh, like, I'm looking at it like, he knows me.
Like?
Yep.
I mean, it's either that or that movie on. No, that's not really like a 4th of July movie. No.
I mean, it's the American British War, but
yeah.
Well, not even. No, it's not even the American British War. It's after the post. But that's the whole thing. It's like 20 years after the split, basically, the Revolutionary War.
I'd also eventually like to do some war movies too, like I don't know.
Don't get me started. Saving Private Ryan.
1917.
I haven't seen that one actually.
Which one?
Good.
1917. We own it. I haven't watched it.
Fury. It's another good one.
I'm gonna say Stanley Kubrick's. What's the famous one? Private Pile. Stanley Kubrick.
Oh,
what the fuck is it called?
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. We've got them all. I also have, if you want to consider it a war movie, Black Hawk Down.
It's a war movie.
Yeah. Conflict.
Inglourious Bastards.
I have that. That's a good one. There's a lot of them. I love war movies. We got like Apocalypse Now. If is one of the most well known. We have that. I have both cuts of that movie.
Forrest Gump. I'm just kidding.
Don't even joke, dude. I love that fucking movie. You're the one who
I know,
doesn't
but
like
it's
that
not
movie.
considered. It's not considered a war movie.
I
like
something
Forrest Gump.
bit me.
I just don't think it's a war movie.
Every time I watch
Vietnam,
Forrest
yeah,
Gump, though, I can't stop thinking about how the chick he likes is a dirty hoe.
I think if we were to watch, and that's the thing is,
the sequel that you talked about,
the book,
Forrest Gump in space.
We should pair them together, like Forrest Gump and something else, like Almost Famous and Rockstar. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then if we wanted to do we did Grosse Point Blank, right?
No,
we have not.
So you can do Grosse Point Blank. In my opinion, you would go Grosse Point Blank High Fidelity, but we could talk about that. Or you go Grosse Point Blank and Identity. I mean, those are the two movies that I think.
Identity is such a good movie.
Or Being John Malkovich, but that movie's just fucking
Better
weird.
Off Dead. I like that one. I like the fucking the announcer guy.
1408's good too. I like that movie.
That's a Stephen King book.
Yeah.
Or Stephen King short story.
I think we should consider maybe pairing them just at a certain point we need to there's new shit and then we need to decide what we want to do of the old too of stuff we just enjoy.
Yeah.
So should we give Total Recall any final thoughts?
If you're into the RoboCop level violence, it's Paul Verhoeven, so you can't go wrong with it. It's one of his best movies. I mean, it's Terminator 2, Total Recall, True Lies, Last Action Hero, like it's up there. Yeah, I'm ready to give the hot dogs, and then I actually found some quotes, so I could go to the quotes.
He did do Basic Instinct.
I thought this was like a fun movie, but it was kind of semi-serious. That's one of the things I liked about it, and it had all the different aspects of all the different genres of movies too in it. Sci-fi, fucking comedy, drama.
I don't think any other actor though it would have been the same tone. Like I think Arnold was the perfect guy.
Yeah, it's kind of has to do with his accent too. That kind of makes him fit into all these characters that we've seen just in these 2 weeks.
I mean, at this point, his voice and how he spoke and his mannerisms started to become a character. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Oh wait, before we do ratings, what do you guys think about recast in this movie?
Ooh.
This one I do have a thing for recast.
You go ahead, sir.
All right, so I thought it was funny just to fucking do like a whole wrestling theme to recasting.
Go with it.
So for fucking Doug, John Cena, just he's got his little things.
Just because of the haircut.
Yeah,
and the muscles.
His wife Lori, Anthony might not know who this is, but Brooke Baker from AEW.
Okay.
Is she my old girl?
No. She's actually a dentist that fucking is a real wrestler. She's a real dentist and she's a wrestler.
She's was it Isaac Yankem, DDS?
Yeah, but she's a perfect heel. She's fucking good on the mic and everything. So I think she would be good to play like these two good and bad roles. For Melina, I just threw the man Becky Lynch in there just because that's the only thing I think of. Cohagen, Vince McMahon.
Wait, Becky Lynch for Melina?
Yeah, because she's like mad at her for mad at him for wanting to be with blondes.
I think.
And then she's like, now I see why.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you're losing the Latina flair, though.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Latina flair.
She's I don't know.
But go ahead, no, it's your choices.
But for Cohagen, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would work.
Dr. Edgemar, the guy with the fucking sweaty thing. Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard.
Oh Jesus!
Because that guy would fucking sweat on cue.
You don't think Cornette would be better for that role?
No.
Really?
No.
What about Paul Heyman?
Maybe Paul Heyman.
Swallow it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Makes no difference to me.
For Richter, fucking Triple H, because he's fucking the one that's being yelled at by fucking Vince McMahon.
He's got to be better than Blade Trinity, though. He's got to do a better acting than Blade fucking Trinity.
For Benny, Matt Riddle. Always trying to get somebody to fucking do something with him because he's
Who was the
lonely.
guy that won the 24/7 champion for a while?
R-Truth?
I think R-Truth for Benny.
Okay, that would be good.
That's just my opinion. I'm gonna go. I just given my input on the wrestling one since it's fun.
Yeah.
The boys are fully cast this movie, and I don't know who the fuck any of these people
are.
Matt Riddle is a fucking he's a MMA fighter that turned wrestler, and he's a big time stoner. I think that's one of the reasons why
he's
he
paired
got
up in a
MMA.
funny, basically Rock'em Sock'em angle they got going for him and Orton right now.
Yeah.
Or the Rock and Sock connection. Remember when Mick Foley and The Rock teamed up? Yeah.
So for Tony, either fucking Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, or fucking Hulk Hogan for some reason. I don't know. I could see Hulk Hogan.
Who's Tony?
Tony is the brain guy, the back brain guy. He's the one that says, that says you got a lot of nerves showing your face around here.
I don't know. I think maybe you could also go The Miz for that role.
Yeah.
You could go The Miz for Quaid too.
And I was thinking, And I was thinking for like Quado, George, I was thinking like the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, because he actually does play a good fucking,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So I'm sorry, Anthony. I know I lost a lot of you. Lost you on a lot of these guys, but
Lewis, like it's cool. I'm using porn stars, so. Lewis, who you got in mind?
All right, for me, hear me out.
Good job, Alex.
So for Douglas Quaid, Colin Farrell.
Oh, you fuck! I was gonna make this joke, you piece of shit.
Just
okay.
Kidding. No,
that's literally the remake, Alex. Don't feed into it. Don't feed into it.
I know.
Fuck him. Actually, I like
but
the remake.
So I was gonna ask. I have not seen the remake, but I know it's on Netflix.
It doesn't. I actually. Well, if you had my Amazon Prime, I have it in 4K on there, but I have it in Vudu as well, 1080p. I don't dislike it. I like it. It's just not the same at all. Like they focus. For one thing, there is no like, is it real? Is it isn't? It's a very straightforward.
Yeah.
He is a secret agent. This is what's going on. ... They follow somewhat of the same structure, but not really nearly close to the Schwarzenegger. Well, closer to the short story in structure.
I have to check it out. I don't know why it should, because that came out 2012
A while back. I mean, there's some pretty decent action scenes in it. I think the one I have on Vudu is the unrated, which is the better of them because there's a little bit more, but not a ton. There's some cool scenes in it, and it is like it's Leigh Wiseman or whatever that Underworld guy is. He directed it, so it's a good action flick. It's much
that's
like
why Kate Beckinsale is in it.
Yep. I was gonna say her too as Sharon Stone. Like I was gonna go the whole gamut. I was gonna be like Bokeem Kardim or whatever the fuck his name is. He's in it. You know, he's the friend.
Yeah, I honestly don't know who I'd cast in this movie. I mean, if you think about it, if Quaid's character is supposed to be this kind of like normal guy who either is this agent or is not, I mean, he really doesn't. That's the weird thing about this movie is it didn't, from a plot standpoint, it didn't need to be someone as like fucking like ready to rip someone's head off as Arnold.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes the movie a little goofy that it is because he's like ideal. But I mean, you could technically cast this movie as someone who's not as stocky as Arnold, but more like kind of tall, but in a funny role.
Having Quaid be this muscle guy did give him the benefit of, or it did give him the upper hand of actually throwing that guy on the escalators off.
It does, but if it's an implanted memory, it could technically be as goofy or whatever in his head as possible. So I mean, you can have someone tall, who's still got like the funny acting. I hate to use Ryan Reynolds for everything. But like, or John Krasinski is possibly another one.
I'm gonna break my rule about tall and short actors on this one.
Danny DeVito.
Yes, always.
Finally.
I'm gonna. What's the Ted Danson? No, Woody Harrelson. I'm gonna go modern. Tom Hardy, the guy that plays Kick-Ass. I think
Aaron Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's got a solidly muscular build.
But him from Tenet, right? Not from Kick-Ass.
I can really see Tom Hardy.
I'll take him for obviously an older version of Kick-Ass if you're going for Kick-Ass, obviously. But yeah, him from Tenet, ideal. He's much more mature now. You can tell he's in his 30s, or at least late 20s.
I'm still fucking shocked that that's him. But yeah,
yeah, I know, right? He does. I mean, he's a pretty good actor, all in all. He's just kind of a weird dude. But something like that would work. You don't necessarily need a big dude in this role. In fact, I would argue that Arnold being as big as he was didn't fit the character. Spies aren't bodybuilders. It doesn't work that way. They're in great shape, but they're not fucking bodybuilders. So, I think you can go with a smaller dude. If you're going for more of an older, also for, you got me thinking on the wrestling, I would take Sharon Stone's character and it would be Alexis Bliss.
I like her, yeah.
I think that would be an okay.
The good bad.
Exactly, she can do that. Flip on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest at this point for his buddy. The problem is you can't have like a Danny DeVito in that role with a 30-year-old actor as his best friend. So you got to get kind of a dumpy-ish actor. Like, as much as I hate the motherfucker, somebody in like the Jonah Hill. I don't hate Jonah Hill. I mean Seth Rogen. I don't like. But in the Jonah Hill kind of cast of character, Jason Segel, just as kind of he's a tall dude, so it would make more sense for him to be like kind of an agent too. If you're going for the
has he even played a serious role?
He's done serious. He's never done action, but he's done serious. I mean, hell, if you want to go a little goofy, but I think Paul Rudd's pretty versatile for that character.
He's got to have the ponytail though.
That guy has not aged in fucking 30-something years.
I mean, no, he looks great. I mean, Michael Ironside's character, there's a lot of guys out there that you can be villains. Like, realistically, if you want to go younger on the villain, and I know we go to him a lot, but like Mads Mikkelsen or whatever the fuck his last name is, you can do as Cohagen. Bryan Cranston actually wasn't a terrible Cohagen. when he was in the remake. For Victor, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like secondary characters that are also kind of tough guys out there. I mean, he's got to be a decent actor too, because it's a pretty decent speaking role. Although if you want to go less of a tough guy or big build tough guy, you can go Ed Harris for that role. You know what I mean? Where he's like older than
younger.
No, you go like The Rock Ed Harris.
Okay.
Because you can make him older than the main villain.
Now he's like in his 80s, isn't he?
He's like, he's up there. I don't know about 80s, but you can make him kind of like guiding the younger leader through, and that's why he relies on him so much, because he's like a veteran, whatever.
I feel like I was just like my kid when they asked me how old I am. 35. They're like, "Wow, you're old."
I'll never.
I'm not that old, man.
You are.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, other than that,
was there color TV?
For Benny, I kind of like Kofi Kingston, although I also there is a YouTuber / Vine guy named Marlon Webb. If you've never watched his stuff, I encourage everybody to check it out. He's fucking hilarious. I'd love to see him in the Benny role. I'd love to see him in a big movie.
Marlon Webb, huh?
Yeah, he's got some funny stuff. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot other than that to cast. You get just minions basically for the Hank. Who would be a good Hank? You know what you do is you get a cameo for Hank, since it's such a small role. That's where you put Ryan Reynolds, where half of his face is behind makeup. You do the whole flip side where it's like Ryan Reynolds in this fucking movie and we only get one eye and the rest of it's a mutant. Are you kidding me?
You're talking about Tony though, right? Hank Tony.
Yeah, Hank Tony. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because you're going to Breaking Bad.
Fucking Hank, goddammit.
He's Hank.
He's Hank. All right, so what I'm going to do real quick... Alex, you got anything else to say? I'm sorry, I didn't know if I cut you off.
No, you have not.
All right, so I'm going to do... I found a page with all the most memorable quotes. And I'm going to read a couple of them, just to get it out of the system. Because they don't get brought up in the conversation enough. So, what's up?
If there isn't one, I want to recommend it. So, do your stuff and then let me know when you're done.
So... One of the ones I like, I'm not going to read because it's the Johnny Cab, because it's unless one of you guys want to be Johnny Cab.
It's not really him. Yeah.
But let's see. Doug Quaid, when you hear the crunch, you're there. When he's in the nose. Doug Quaid, you're not you, you're me. And he goes, no shit. All right, so Quaid points a gun at Dr. Edgemar's head. All right, let's say you're telling the truth and this is all a dream. I could pull this trigger and it won't matter. Not a great quote, I'm going to be honest with you.
No.
See you at the party, Victor! Sue me, dickhead. You blew my cover! Let's see, we've got... Here's the plan. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. You've got the one where she says, you wouldn't hurt me, would you, sweetheart? And he shoots her in the fucking forehead. Consider that a divorce. Let's see. Once again, see you at the party, Richter. You've got Get Your Ass to Mars by itself. Let's see. If I'm not me, who the hell am I? My name is not Quaid! Oh, he's got the real guttural. I love that one. Screw you! Let's see. One of my favorite is they actually have it in here is when he's got the hologram and he goes, you think this is the real Quaid? It is. I love that one. Yeah, exactly.
So that's one of them that I had two, so that's one.
Then he's got, come on, Cohagen, you got what you want. Give these people air. That one was one of my favorite. And then, there's a couple of them with him in the Johnny Cab where Johnny Cab really gets the best of it, where he's just being kind of a cocky, where he's like, well, where am I? You're in the Johnny Cab. How did I get here? I'm sorry, would you rephrase the question? How did I get in the taxi? The door opened, you got in. And then he rolls in. Hell of a day, isn't it? Like, his roll of his eyes is like, it's a fucking robot. It's the greatest part. But that's what I got on Total Recall. You got another one?
One that I would like to hear you say is this one. What is it? You call this a delusion? When he's like, holding his wife's arms, and he puts his hands up and there's blood.
Is this okay? Is this an illusion? Yeah, he's got the just blatantly.
You call this a delusion?
Is this an illusion? Yeah. Okay. You got that. Anything else I missed?
No, that's the only one that I found fucking funny.
There is the one where it's not even on here. In the beginning, was like, you know that you're the girl of my dreams.
Yeah.
It's like you were literally just dreaming about another woman. Anything else we want to say before we give it the old T800 skulls, or you want to do something different for each one?
Would this be Martian hands this time?
Yeah, but they don't really show quados. How many quados out of 10?
How many quados?
Quados.
Oh,
Quados.
man. This... Okay, I'll go first for this one. This one's pretty up there, man. This one's probably, for me, like a 7 out of 10. It's a very good-looking movie. I think, like, I don't know, probably, like, 90 to maybe 96. Like, if you had to slim it down to, like, his peak years is probably, like, you get, like, the best of everything.
Yeah, you really do.
And this is another role where, Arnold could have just been typecasted as, like, big, dumb action guy who has no sense of humor.
You do feel his charm in this, yeah.
But he does,
Yeah. Yeah, so this is definitely a 7 out of 10 for me.
Alex!
All right, for me, I really loved Total Recall from when I first saw it. Like I said, man, it was different seeing it now that I'm actually trying to fucking make sense of it. But he fucking tackles all the fucking genres of movies in it. Like, when you're paying attention, there's comedy, there's action, there's drama, there's sci-fi. There's no horror, but I
mean, unless you want to give it
horror.
a little bit when Benny pulls out his mutant hand.
Yeah,
maybe.
Or when you see the
strong
mutant
hand.
The beginning when their faces pop out, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a bit goofy, though.
Yeah. And then, like, at the end when he's doing it again, he's like, he kept doing that weird, like, piggy squeal.
So there was, like, some weird inconsistencies, but it wasn't a lot. I think that was one of them. And then the other one was the scene where he's with her and she says, "You could tie me up." Right before that, he grabs her by the shoulders to get down, and his hands are supposed to be covered in blood. And when you see her, there's no blood.
We call that the Porsche scene.
Yeah, yeah. But other than all that, he actually showed that he progressed as an actor moving forward. He still had his lines, his one-liners and stuff, but
you could
the
see
kill
more,
count was up there, and
he's more Schwarzenegger though. Like, it's hard to explain. Yeah. Like, he has fully come into the Schwarzenegger persona at this point.
Yeah, he's finally fucking become the person that he destined to be. It's a big difference from fucking
Commando to
Hercules
this.
in New York.
Oh God, you went way back.
Like he actually speaks perfect, not perfect English, but good enough. But for me, I'm gonna have to say 8 quados for me, man. I really fucking like Total Recall. Actually, I was calling it Terminator Recall.
This is a big one for me, fellas. It's easy. This is a 9.
Oh,
you give me 5 Schwarzenegger movies. This is among them that I'm gonna watch. Plain and simple.
I believe it. Honestly, talking about it made me want to watch it again, thinking about the...
Dude, and the unrated cut
dream.
Is subtly more violent. There's a couple scenes where it's like, oh, that's extra. Like, you get more 3 boobs, and you get more... it's a lot like RoboCop, where the scenes aren't really much extra, but it's some extra violence. Like this guy gets shot on camera, or this guy, they show him more brutally get murdered.
This guy gets one more bullet added to his...
Yeah, this guy, like, in the original, he shoves the pole in, and they don't show the guy. And in the unrated cut, they show the guy's, like, the makeup body falling back with a pole through his face.
That's the one from his wrist, right? When he breaks off the thing from the wrist and then stabs him in the head?
No, this is one where the guy's on his knees, and he has a metal pole and goes like that, and there's a POV of the pole coming forward. In the rated cut, you don't see what happens to the guy. In the unrated cut, they show the puppet makeup where he's like this, and he falls back, and he's got the pole going through his face. It's actually quite gruesome.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look at that too again.
Yeah, that one's is on the iTunes as well, my friends. Okay, guys, we got anything else left to say? I doubt it about the recall. Recall.
No, I mean, if you are an Arnold fan and you haven't seen this movie, even if you're not an Arnold fan, it's a very, like, intriguing sci-fi plot for a movie.
If you're an
And
action fan, if you're somebody who doesn't sleep much like me, you're looking for something to watch you've never seen. If you're under the age of 35, go check it out.
And don't fucking use the whole graphics and like imagery and stuff like that for granted. Like this was ahead of its time for.
Oh yeah.
Not only that, but when you think about the overall, like, name me a line in the movie that the PC culture can destroy right now. In fact, the movie the movie pushes acceptance of other people by pushing the mutant agenda. So in that terms, it's a very progressive movie for its time as well. There wasn't any of the hard R word. There wasn't any of the lovely 80s F word, not fuck. Stuff like that didn't exist in this movie. It just doesn't, it's all about the sci-fi and the action and the intrigue. And I don't think this movie gets enough credit for that point. Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a break. You're going to, I don't know what you're going to see during the break. I'm going to put something, motherfucker. All right, we'll be right back, guys.
All right, second movie. This came out the same year. Yeah. Holy shit.
Which one came out in which month, damn it?
The Kindergarten Cop was December.
And then I'll find it for you if you don't mind.
Yeah, I closed my window. I thought it was June.
Here we go. Yes, you're correct. June 1st.
Yeah, shit. But we're not talking about Kindergarten Cop 1. We're talking about the direct-to-video sequel starring... Have you watched the sequel?
No. Should we?
No, probably not. It just... I
didn't even know there was a sequel until I looked up Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren. Matt, you're muted.
I literally just said it's got Dolph Lundgren. Way to go, Matt, you fuck.
Who else does this sequel have? Bunch of people I don't fucking know.
There's somebody else on the cover. I don't remember who, though. I want to say an African-American.
Holy cow.
But anyways, the more superior one, Kindergarten Cops. This came out in 1990. It's also starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Taught me everything I know about counting to 4.
So budget $26 million, box office $202 million. Again, lesser budget than. Or no, yeah, this was a lesser budget than.
It was in the 200 millions though, which is it's same year.
So I was trying. So 26 million to make this movie. I was trying to look up how much Arnold made off of this one, and everything I'm finding is saying around like 10 to 12 million. So he made about half what the movie, about half of the production was paying him, I guess, if that's...
Wait, what was the whole budget for the movie to produce it and make it?
Well, the budget to make it was 26.
Okay.
I mean, with marketing, you're probably doubling that.
Jesus.
But apparently he made... Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a mark, yeah. Plus, does he have back earnings on it too, which he probably doesn't?
No, I can't find it, but I would imagine he does. I would imagine for most of his films,
in his contracts, like as soon as he felt he was like, "Oh, I'm on fire," he was like, "I'm putting it in my contract."
What the hell do you think this dude spent his money on?
Airplanes,
in like the 80s and 90s?
big houses, maids,
jet skis,
cigars,
maids.
You name it, like partying,
abortion.
Like Jesus, fuck, that went dark. Basically, like taking his entire group of buddies on a vacation to Vegas. Like he was known for that shit. He'd fly him in his private jet to Vegas. They'd have a weekend. Like there was Arnold back when him and Maria Shriver divorced. You saw it all. Like it was like there was photos of Arnold's partying, and it's like, oh, he's with a much younger girl. It's like. Well, I mean, not to be a prick, but you want him to pick somebody of his own age? Like, you think, like, I understand, and I'm not saying older women are unattractive, but, like, he's got money, he's still in great shape, he's probably got, because of all of his steroid use, the fucking libido of a 22-year-old, so, like, why can't he pick and choose? Why is it okay for Demi Moore to marry Ashton Kutcher, but Arnold can't, like they say that about Russell Crowe too. It's like he's with a much younger woman. Who gives a shit? That's clearly her choice. I hope they're happy together. Like, so what does it matter? Cage. Well, yeah, well, he's married. I mean, he marries them all though, at least.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you wife number 34.
He's with a 27-year-old. It's like whatever. They're old enough. Good for them.
I've read
Good for
that
them.
she's a mute and only communicates in blinks. So we'll,
That's okay. He only commutes in dance.
Yeah, he just dates.
That's how they commute with communicate.
I want to watch Willy's Wonderland again already. The movie's so fucking good.
But Matt, you describe or give us a brief what the fuck this movie is about.
So it starts off as like a PG-13, a fairly decent PG-13, like
a different fucking movie,
dark movie where starts off where a dude gets murdered and Schwarzenegger's got a weird patchy Austrian hillbilly beard.
I like the way he looked at the beginning.
Yeah, and then
I like that look for him.
He's really badass. He literally arrests Chris when he's getting a fucking manicure, and then he to get the witness to comply, he starts shooting all the furniture at this party she's at, and he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And he fucking shoots the couch, and he goes, "I'm the party pooper." And then he sits next to her and he's like, "I love you, Cindy. I'm going to be with you every night and day and weekends." And it's just, and he's got the sunglasses, he's cool Schwarzenegger, and then he shaves and he somehow cuts his own hair, in the bathroom of the motel.
Real quick, I imagine the way he was talking to Cindy is how he talked to Alyssa Milano at fucking Commando when they were sharing the ice creams.
See, I really gotta stop with it, but we talk to the maid. You did a very good job. You buffed my banisters.
So his look in the beginning of this movie makes me think almost of Last Action Hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's just very gritty. It's like a totally different fucking movie.
And give it to the guy. I mean, at this point, he's 42.
1990.
Because I think in 96, is it 96 or 97? He's in Eraser. Whatever year that is, he's 49.
96 is Eraser. So
or maybe he's 48 then. So at this point, he's still like 42.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in great shape. Hell, he was in good shape for Eraser, considering he's almost 50. He keeps that's the thing is he aged really well. You didn't see his body deteriorate until he became governor. When he became governor, the body went to shit.
Politics will do.
Yeah, it just destroys your body and mind. Never become a politician. So this is the look he had, even though it looks like he's some weird superhero from The Watchmen with the lettering. Way to go, Matt. But yeah, that's the way he looked initially. So yeah, it starts off as a pretty tough movie, and then transitions into kind of like a family dramedy, and then kind of at the end goes back to the little bit of the PG-13 roots it gets. But the premise is Schwarzenegger is a tough, no-nonsense detective cop guy who likes shotguns, and he's got this case for crisp. I need some crisp. I'm hungry. And so he's tracking him. He finally gets him. He's got a witness. He needs to track down the ex-wife who fled with supposedly $3 million she stole with him, or stole from him, which is supposed to be elicited by drugs or murder or whatever. Who gives a fuck? And he's got a partner who is a sassy lady who I love in this movie.
Phoebe.
She's awesome.
She's good.
And she is assigned to be the teacher. She gets sick by something she ate because she's a human garbage disposal because she's got a high metabolism.
She gets the mud butt for most of the movie.
Yeah, so he's forced to become the teacher. And there's only 3 toddler murders in the whole movie, though, so it's not that bad. No. But yeah, and then it turns into more of a family dramedy where, he's still trying to figure out which one of these kids is Chris' son, so that's where the famous line, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?" comes into play. And, they kind of, look at him they tell him, who is your daddy? They think it's a guessing game. And, give it to Arnold, because you can legitimately see, he looks frustrated. He's got the oh god damn it in his head, so
I wonder how long they ran that scene until they finally caught the right.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if that was take 15. He's like, one more god, I haven't had a cigar in 30 minutes. I'm fucking no more.
Just with that Emma kid alone, I think might have been where he broke his fucking.
I didn't have this kind of bullshit with James. He knew what the fuck he wanted. Because at this point, he's got to be like, if this released in '90, when this came out, he was probably, if not, he probably went directly from this to T2, or maybe filmed T2 before this. I would say after, the way he looks.
Probably after.
I don't understand why nobody besides James Cameron knows how to cut his fucking hair, though. Like, what is the deal? Why does he have what is that?
The mop.
Like, that's the Schwarzenegger fro. Like, in Turtle Recall, the sequel. In Total Recall, he's got, like, literally they show the back of his head and the hair is slicked back like the old school businessman style. And it's like, I literally paused it and I was like, shave all of that. All of it gone! Like, get rid of the white guy fin that they used to have in the 80s.
I feel like Arnold is like me in that when I go get my hair cut, like, the people are like, so what do you want? And I'm like, no, you tell me what looks good, because you don't want, just, you do it. You do it.
You're gonna dye it red again?
That's,
I remember that.
No, now, since quarantine, I've been cutting my own hair. The first time I tried it, I zebra striped myself because the guard fell off the thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I go to Shane, I'm like, is it bad? And she's just like,
I remember, because I got
cut my hair today.
Very nice. You're very lovely looking. We haven't said that you're very beautiful. I used to shave my head to the point where I was like skinning it, where I would then take like a beard trim, like a just regular razor rate, like an electric razor, and then smooth it out. And then at one point I shaved a mohawk into it, which happened to coincide with Halloween. So somewhere there's a photo of me of a mohawked Captain Spaulding.
okay.
And I look, we got the makeup kit, my wife put it on me. I look pretty fucking like him, dude. Like, I have besides the beard and the mohawk, but I look like a scarier version of him because I got the power. What movie? Kindergarten Cop. Yeah, I like this movie. You get a lot of memorable lines from it. Like, that's the thing, is it's one of his movies, a lot like Total Recall, that you get a wealth of things like simple shit like "shut up" when he screams it, which in today's standards he would have to be like, "Be quiet, please." Like the Karens of the world wouldn't allow that in a kids movie. Of course you get the one of them when the kid tells him boys have a penis and girls have a vagina, he goes, "Yeah, thanks for the tip." Like, that's a pretty funny line.
Literally, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, I know, really weird. That just turned it weird. Yeah. You have "I'm the potty pooper." My favorite line in the whole movie, which is not said by... Well, there's two favorite lines in this movie that is not said by Schwarzenegger. The first one is, "Where's my grandson?" Boom! And then she fires the gun and "Where's my..." And he's, "Go to hell." He's, "Where's my grandson, you son of a bitch?" And then his partner, Phoebe O'Hara, hits her with a fucking baseball bat. Then out of the park goes, "Not so tough without your car, are you?" She did get hit by a car, by the way. I should probably say that. Of course, the classic is "Not a tumor. Not a tumor at all." And let's see. One of the nice ones is when he's in the detective, John Kimball, and he's like, "Excuse me, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is John Kimball." And then he checked the shotgun, and then he goes, "I love my car." And the dude's like, I'm just gonna keep looking at it. And the best part is that when he turns his back, the dude's like, "I was about to kick his ass."
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of them. Like, you also have ones from The Principal, where she's like, "How'd it feel to hit that son of a bitch?"
Yeah.
After he punches the abusive father.
That
That's the other thing, is there's layers to this movie. Like, there's a whole sub-story of this kid who's being abused. And there's movies that don't allow the main character to physically act upon it. And this is one of my favorite things about this movie, is it was total hero. Like, he acts on it. Alex, describe the scene.
So, little boy, I believe his name was Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
like Zach Stewart or something.
Yeah, so Kimball has been trying to talk to the mom over and over because he thinks that, the father's not involved in his life.
I will see. Sorry to interrupt
little
you.
Recluse.
The one scene where she drives away and he's like, "Hey, you bitch!" That was a little weird for a kids movie. Sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
But the little kid's like a recluse, and the entire class for 6-year-olds, which are the most brutalest fucking kids in the world.
What do they call them? Poo-poo face?
Caca poo-poo face.
Yeah. Like, Arnold should have been like, come on, you could do better.
Yeah.
Be more creative.
He could have thought of better things.
Call him abused little piece of shit. He's like, whoa, Arnold, kids movie. Sorry.
But so Arnold's kind of like wondering if that's the kid, so he wants to talk to the mom, and every time, like you said, the mom drove off, he called her a bitch and whatnot as she drove off. Finally he gets a chance to talk to the mom, and it was because but you hear Zach go, "Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't know he was following me."
Yeah, so it's a
like,
full like under wraps thing.
Yeah, so it's a full thing, and then he talks to the mom, and he's gonna ask her about where they lived or some shit, or like the father. And she goes, I know what it looks like, you know, and you probably seen the bruising. Right there, fucking Kimball goes straight into cop mode.
Yeah, he thinks it's Crisp's kid, and then once he realizes the dynamic, he's like, oh, you know, oh shit.
Yeah. And he's like, if it happens again, I'm pressing charges.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens, Alex? Tell me.
Fast forward, he goes, Zach shows up late, and he goes to tell him, hey, you know, it's okay, and he like shrugs when Arnold touches him on the back, and he goes, what? And he looks and sees the black and blue marks.
Yeah,
and
I mean, but you did forget to talk about the part before he
lifts
his shirt, he's like, you know, stop being such a pussy.
I fell on the stairs. He says, I fell on the stairs, and then when he goes to talk to the mom says he fell down the stairs. But
I left the basement door open or some shit like that.
He goes straight to the dad, and dad goes, oh, so you're the new teacher, and he puts his hand up to shake his hand. Yeah. Arnold fucking starts shaking him up, roughing him up. Eventually, fucking, I think he punched him in the gut.
Yeah, and then he's gonna hit him again, and he looks around, and he's like,
and the school lets out. Yeah.
But it's a total hero moment, man. Like, you don't, the entire city, Astoria at that point respected him. Now they were like, oh, this new hunk just punched that son of a bitch.
Especially the fucking the principal.
The principal, yeah. And then later that night, that guy beat the shit out of his wife and kids.
She got thrown through a plate glass window. Like a West.
I don't know. She tripped.
But I was laughing when I saw that scene because I was thinking like, you're gonna get your ass beat when you get home.
Yeah.
Kid, you thought the bruising was bad before. Holy shit.
But the principal was so excited because the principal's so excited because as a teacher you can't do that, and he's not really a teacher yet, I guess. But
he's technically a lawman.
Yeah, so he can do that kind of stuff and get away with it.
Yep.
But she was so excited because they knew of the abuse, but they couldn't pinpoint it. They couldn't say anything.
Tell me what it felt like to hit that son of a bitch. I always loved her for that line. I really did.
That's another thing. So Phoebe, they were sending with her because she originally was a teacher, and was now a detective before she got the mud butt. So when she got sick, by the way, how come? Yeah. So speaking of that, like, this movie really drives into your face that this lady is shitting her brains out.
He still looks like he's from The Watchmen.
They could have done like one scene where they explain that Phoebe's sick, but I think it's like 6 scenes or so.
Yeah.
Where she's like running to the gas station bathroom. Like,
that's where it sets up the whole comedic point of it.
I can't unsee fucking what's his face from Watchmen now.
The comedian. I'll put it back.
With the scraggly, he doesn't look good.
No, he looks like a hillbilly, bro. Like, he looks like a chiseled hillbilly.
I like that look about him. That if a whole movie of him like that would have been great.
I don't know, man. Here's a Watchmen version. If the Watchmen was made, 15 years earlier or whatever?
It may have been 20.
Was Watchmen 2010 maybe then? Maybe I'm... 2009, I think. All right.
I do also like when Arnold shows up back at the house and Phoebe's there with her, her husband? Or fiance?
Fiance, the chef.
Yeah.
And he's ready to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. he goes to charge like, oh, he's raping Phoebe. Like, he's all like, like, his mannerisms are like scared. He's in full murder mode. He turns into John Matrix in that scene.
It's funny because you look at your backdrop with him and his scraggly beard and Alex's, and I would never think that that's the same movie. It's like, no, those are two different
Not only
movies.
that, but I wouldn't say it's the same year.
No.
You know what I mean? Like this, the photo I have is 3 years later. For some reason, he's blonde. You notice his hair's even, like, lighter?
Yeah.
The fuck is that about? What was he? This is his audition for Blade Runner. I'd be a good cyborg. Oh, they're not cyborgs, sir. They're different. I don't give a fuck. I played a cybernetic organism before. I could do it again. He's just on the sidelines, just mad.
So I guess the one of the more bonkers things towards the end of this movie is Kimball deciding to just become a teacher.
Mm-hmm. Like leaving
Like,
my
I always
life in
thought-
New York behind.
I always thought that was insanely weird. I mean, for one, like from a financial standpoint, he's like, I'm just gonna give up my salary and my pension, and I'm gonna make like, what? This is the fucking 90s. I'm gonna make like 12 grand a year. Yeah, I'm totally fine with
his
that.
partner even says that the woman makes less than she does a year, which is pathetic.
Yeah.
Real quick, Matt. 2019, The Watchmen came out.
Oh,
no, wait, that's
no,
the TV.
you-
No.
you liar.
No. No, wait, that's the TV show.
It was 09, because Jen and I just started dating.
Yeah, it was 2009.
And Jen still holds a grudge against me because I didn't invite her to the Midnight Watchmen release because it had been planned for weeks, and it was week 1 of dating, and I didn't know if it was a boys' night type thing, and she still holds it against me. She wakes me up with it sometimes, just, hey, you remember that time? It's pretty terrible.
She's got the knife like right up to your gut.
She haunts my life with it. When she's driving, she's like, well, I wasn't going to drive us off the bridge, but then I was thinking of that time. Like, yeah, she gets real weird with it. I had a thought on Kindergarten Cop here, but it's also really weird how, like, he totally takes advantage of her in her moment of grief.
Yeah.
Or her moment of, like, just panic. Like, she's all like, no, we got to find him. And he's like, it's okay. I'm going to put it in you. Like, like, let's start heavy petting. And then they go find him, and he, of course, like, Jen pointed out that Schwarzenegger, she's like, be careful, and the kid's hanging. It's like, what the fuck is he gonna do? Like, he's already hanging by his fucking backpack.
Let's talk about Arnold's choice of clothing in that fucking scene, though.
His windbreaker?
Yeah.
I'm going into
pants?
the sky, it's going to break the wind for me. I won't be chilly.
Pants, his jeans, his like thin, like tight leg jeans.
Yeah, with the mom jeans they have him wearing.
With his K-Swiss shoes.
Well,
They were all white.
That's like when he shows up to the school in his fucking short sleeve shirt, like the moms become dehydrated at his sight. Like they're leaving puddles below him. They're below them when they're standing there. It's like really, and then
What's the one mom say? You guys can all deserve to look like slobs. I'm
yeah,
single.
you're married. But then you got the chick from Casper, who's over here like, welcome to the single wife's capital of the world, honey.
Yeah.
She got a terrible voice. I don't give a shit. She reminds me of that song by Metallica with that.
Oh God.
That's what I always think of when I see her.
She was
I
great
do-
in Neighbors, though.
I do like in the library when Crisp is like squeezing the fucking lighter fluid
Lighter
and
fluid.
lights it, and it looks like the books were soaked in gasoline the way
Yes.
the fire starts.
Yeah, he basically channeled Carrie to start that fire. Yeah, it's like whoever did the production design got a little overzealous. Like they actually not only that, but they actually then gave him lighter fluid. Like no, it's real. Just be careful.
So the books are soaked in gas, but you're gonna have lighter fluid.
Yeah, just stand a few feet back. You don't want the trail. In
Wait,
fact, throw
let's
the
throw that-
match.
Throw that picture of him that arrest picture of him that he had no eyebrows. It looked like
You right?
they never grew back.
And then you have the whole scene with him at the toy store with Bill Murray's Bill Murray's brother's wannabe clone,
Oh God.
his older brother.
Yeah.
Where he's like, no, buddy, you just don't. And then when they're in the toy shop, the dude's like, are out of towners or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these fucking idiots.
Which, by the way, they packaged a fucking empty box because they never took it out of the window.
Oh, did
Well,
you guys also notice in Total Recall when Benny's going through he's driving through trying to escape and he's crashing? Schwarzenegger's like, you idiot! He yells it from the cab. Jen and I caught it, and I was like, I don't think I ever fucking heard that before in this movie. But as Benny's like crashing through shit, he's like, idiot! Like he yells it. It's pretty fucking funny. Sorry, I know we already talked about that movie. But...
Oh man.
What else can we say? So then, the whole thing breaks. Oh, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
What I was gonna say, what I got out of the movie, what you described about the movie and everything. But what I got out of it is Kimball is obsessed with this guy Crisp. He's been working on the case 4 years trying to get him.
He's almost dangerously obsessed.
Yeah, and then as the movie goes on, you find out that when Arnold gets thrown into the kindergarten area, he has a child who's 13
that he
years
hasn't
old,
seen in 7 years,
and which would be about the same age as her son, right?
No, his son's
7.
13.
No, but he hasn't seen him in 7 years, so he would have been 5 or 6 years old.
Basically by basically saving her life and just inserting himself into her life, he is now the child that he lost 7 years ago, basically.
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
a new
so
piece
that's
of ace.
and that's what I pulled out of the movie. Like after it was completely done, that's what I thought about the whole synopsis of the movie, about what it was about.
I guess my question is, why does he dress like Lieutenant Dan when he was a detective?
I don't know.
He's like if he was paralyzed, he could have played Lieutenant Dan dressing and looking like this.
The beginning of this movie is so almost like they filmed it separate, and they're like, we got to use this footage for something.
The ending too is almost like, what movie are we making again? So the movie progresses to where Crisp finds the kid. There's the panic. They got to rescue him, and then they go to the school, and the grandmother runs over Phoebe, his partner. And Crisp does his thing. He's chasing Dominic. And so there's the scene between Schwarzenegger and the grandmother, where she shoots him in the shoulder. And he's down basically, and it's kind of cool because they're in the bathrooms with the showers. So the blood on the enamel shows because it's all white. So you get kind of that. And that's where the line, what's that?
So who shot him in the leg? It was her too, right?
I believe so. She capped him a couple times.
So she capped him in the leg first.
She had that fucking hand cannon too.
Then she shot him in the shoulder.
Yeah, and he's kind of like they're defenseless almost, and she's literally going, "Where's my grandson?" And boom, she fires above his head, and he does the like that kind of like Schwarzenegger look, like the bullet. And because if you ever watch his commentary on his movies, please do. It's fun. Just YouTube it. They're out there. And she gets closer to him, and then out of nowhere, a baseball bat hits her, and that's Phoebe. Beats the shit out of her with a baseball bat. That's where her line of "You're not so tough without your car, are you?" comes into place. One of my favorite lines.
Elderly abuse.
So
well, you know what? I would have hit her in the fucking dome.
I did see. So Schwarzenegger's contract for the movie stipulated that a private studio for daily workouts and weightlifting be provided for the actor and his personal staff. But when an agreement could not be reached, the actor threatened to almost pull out of production.
Wow.
But
what's wrong with that though?
I don't see it. I mean, that's his body is his career.
That's like saying I want to have certain catering done for me with green M&Ms.
It's in his rider. Yeah, you're right.
It also makes sense in my head that this dude all throughout up until his 50s, like almost like kind of the Rock persona when he was not acting, he was probably like working out 24/7. He had to be be that age.
Not just working out, but the dieting too. Mm-hmm. Like he was one of those guys that when he was out with the boys, he'd eat a big fat steak and shit. But I guarantee you, like on the weekdays, it was protein. But I mean, with him working out so much to build the muscle, he maybe was allowed to eat some more calories, considering it's going to make you're going to take more to sustain that sort of mass too. So I'd imagine later in his career, like when you see him in like True Lies and things like that, he's probably on some form of steroid or human growth hormone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think that was all natural. I mean, you got to be. I mean, True Lies and. I mean, well, I don't know, because here's the thing: he's bigger in True Lies than he is in Eraser, and it's only 2 years difference. He's got some serious mass on his True Lies arm. It could be that he was a couple years younger, but even then, you're still talking 46. Wasn't a young dude there, and he was jacked as shit for True Lies. I mean, End of Days, I don't think he was on any sort of hormone, but I mean, if he was, they would have been a steroid because there was no bloat to him. I mean, he was pretty lean in that movie. That's the thing is like, if maybe he wasn't on steroids and he just really put in the work because I mean he kept great shape throughout he's still in great shape, but a really good shape for a large majority until he went into politics. He was still Arnold, and then he came back Pudding Man.
Pudding Man.
All right, let's give it the Quados. Alex, unless you guys got anything else to say.
Wait, recast.
Yeah,
anybody got a recast for it?
John Cena would work as Kimball. He's done comedies and he's actually rather funny.
Yeah.
I could see it. I mean, at that point, you could also do like a Rock character.
Yeah, John
Chris
Cena and The
Hemsworth,
Rock.
they all still fit. Ryan
And
Reynolds.
anyone who's kind of bigger who like ideally wouldn't make sense as a teacher.
As long as John Cena's not playing that fireman role that he did, which was kind of stupid cheesy.
Okay, so here's
Fire
one.
Girl.
If he bulked himself back up a little bit, Timothy Oliphant.
Okay.
Okay, I like him. Yeah.
I think because he's. I mean, when I think of him, I think of like he's got a bunch of variety roles, but like Raylan Gibbons.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of got that U.S. Marshal type. You know, so if he would have put on some more
We've already
muscle,
seen him play a cop.
yeah, if he was in his perfect getaway shape, and if you've ever seen that movie, he's actually pretty jacked in that movie.
In reality, they'd probably cast fucking Bruce Willis in a remake of this. His ass needs to retire already. He needs to sit down. He needs to stop.
No, they would put Vin Diesel.
Nobody's casting him in AAA movies. That's why he's doing fucking direct-to-DVD shit. He's doing Die Hard commercials for Die Hard Battery.
Yeah, Bruce Willis just needs he needs to hang it up.
They're gonna call on Vin Diesel. Hey man.
No, he already did The Pacifier. He can go fuck off.
Which wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't.
I
wasn't bad
I
either.
actually have a soft spot for those stupid movies, but like,
Yeah.
so I don't like the Tooth Fairy with The Rock, but I do like the football one he did, Game Day or Game Plan.
Game Plan.
I actually dig that movie, and he wasn't bulky, but he was ripped in that movie.
Yeah.
There's a whole scene where he's like flexing, and you're like, damn, The Rock's jacked now. Like that was because people forget, like he really he was in good shape, but he wasn't what you think he was in the WWE. Like when you go back and watch old footage, he's a lot softer than you remember him being.
Yeah. There's a lot more. What do you call it? Flatness to his body instead of cuts.
Yeah,
But
now
that's
he's
the
a
thing when you're
meatball on
when you're a
steroids.
wrestler, when you're a wrestler and you're on the road, you don't have time to hit a gym the way they do, the way they can now because they actually have a power plant in Florida.
Not just that, but it's also like the idea that he was also building his body for movement and being able to be fast and quick. And when he went to Hollywood, he's just building for look.
Yeah.
You know, he could become a giant steroid. He could become Bane.
He
People wanna
probably
talk about
can't
other
touch
people.
the center of his back with all
Yeah,
the muscle that
I
he has.
imagine these guys, if
got
they
an
fall on
itch.
their back trying to get up, it's like a turtle. That's what I imagine it is for.
Well, to be
The
fair,
Rock.
if Rock were to fall, he could always do his kick up stand.
The hip up, yeah.
Don't
hip up.
forget.
Well, can he still do that though?
I don't know, man. He might hit his head on the ceiling at this point. All right. Anything else before we give it the Clados? No. Good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where this sits.
Any other kind of recasting for you?
I think for Phoebe's role, you can do the girl that was in The Office as Erin.
Okay,
Oh, I can't think of her name. She's in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, her.
For Crisp, you can do his other real life counterpart. You can do Ed from 90 Day Fiance.
Oh God, no. I'm gonna say for Crisp, the actual guy I mean is Dominic Cooper or Colin Farrell.
I think I like Colin Farrell more. Like I feel like he can play like more of a sly.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, Colin Farrell's the
Believable.
best,
Well, he's
bro.
also sleazy. Crisp also came off as sleazy
Well, Colin Farrell
with
used
the
to be
whole
sleazy.
fucking ponytail. Yeah, with the whole ponytail, greasy look.
yeah,
Get rid of that shit, though.
the ponytails in the 80s and 90s. No, just stop.
But it made him look very sleazy, though. You know,
Danny DeVito with a ponytail is nightmare fuel.
because he has no hair on top. Had he had hair, it might have looked a little different.
No.
Now,
Well,
Danny
for
DeVito's
that time,
not.
for that
Danny
time.
DeVito's only a threat if you're like in a park by yourself and there's no lights and you see him scurrying in the shadows in the bushes.
Just covered in butter.
If you saw him broad daylight,
His hands were like this.
even if he had a
Eating a
fucking
fish.
machete, you'd be like, dude, I'll chest kick you and your whole body will collapse inside. Like, don't even play, Danny. I love you, I do.
I wanna
Taxi
see
was a
DeVito
great show, but I will chest
reprise
kick you
his
to
role
fucking
as the
death,
Penguin.
Danny. May I call you Danny? Or should it be Mr. DeVito? Either way, Mr. DeVito, I'll chest kick you to hell. Don't fucking try it.
Call him Penguin, see what happens.
He'd probably laugh.
Him and his wife are scary.
Yeah, but
looking.
if you're Danny DeVito and somebody's like, hey, the penguin, why don't you be like, hey, you fat ass? Like, why wouldn't you just riff on people? Hey, Point Dexter.
He's married to what's it?
I think they're
Rhea
divorced,
Perlman?
actually. I don't remember if they got back together or not, but they divorced.
I think
a
they
while
are
back.
divorced, actually.
Yeah, but it's Rhea Perlman, right?
Yep.
Any relation to Ron Perlman? Because they kind of look like each other. It's just one's taller and one's shorter.
I have no idea.
Have you seen them in the same place at the same time? How do you know they're not the same person?
What if they are?
Same person. Same person.
Damn, things that make you
Hellboy
fucking...
is Rhea Perlman. She's
It's all shot with
she's
fucking
got
perspective.
Her Jerry curl hair is like in the makeup somehow. She's Richard Simmonsings. All right, I'm gonna give it.
All right,
this is an 8 quados for the Mateos.
8 cuartos.
Yeah, that's spot on with me. This is, granted, this movie's a little weird for Arnold Schwarzenegger because it's like, this movie takes a detour. Like the beginning's like almost like a badass action setup, and the whole big middle section of this movie is kind of a role you haven't quite seen from him. Like it's very
At that point, yeah, at all.
comedic. It's almost like drama. And even though this isn't a huge action movie, it is like one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So this is definitely an 8 out of 10.
It does have action in it, yeah.
Surprisingly so, a decent amount considering.
I'm gonna also have to go with 8 on this one too, man. Two movies in a row for me for 8 for Arnold. They were tough. You see his comedy side, you see his serious side. Even though his serious side still makes him look like he's not really sure what the hell he's talking about. Like, doesn't it? Like,
he always looks puzzled.
He's talking to her and he's like, no, I know what you're saying. And he's like, but his eyes are saying, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. He just fed me the lines. But I really fucking...
Who is your
I
what?
really love this movie too, man.
Who is your grandpa and what? That's not right. Okay, who? Okay, daddy, got you.
Can you imagine him yelling at his kids when they were younger? Like
the thing is, does he use his lines from the movies?
I don't know, but also
yeah.
does he come off as kind of like when he's yelling too?
Does Arnold's dad jokes include when he leaves, like in the kids' room? I'll be back. Like, you know what I mean? Is that one of his things at home too?
I think when they were younger, that's probably what he did. But as they got older, he wasn't really a force to be reckoned with. It was more the wife. I think he was just, I think he was just dad,
By the
dad
way,
figure.
you have a brother.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Actually, that kid's in really good shape too. You can see he got the genetics from Arnold because he's like pretty jacked.
I think he was a good father, but I think he wasn't always there either.
Well, I mean, there is a lot of photos, and like to give him credit, he didn't outcast the kid. Like, there's a good amount of photos of him with the kid on Christmas, and like,
is it Patrick?
No, that's his with Shriver. It's I can't remember the name of the first name. But that's the thing is like, it's a fuck up to do because you were married and had a family. Like, but in the same token, you weren't shitty about it. You didn't outcast the kid. You were there. Not only did you support him financially, but you were there for him. Like, so give them props. They made it work for a long time. But I think that was something that like before it came out, it was a secret within their family of like Maria Shriver's fake smiling in every photo type thing.
Yeah.
That maid was not pretty.
No.
It's literally like the story from Mr. Deeds. Where his grandpa who died like writes in his diary that like she was there she was there late cleaning, and he does. It's literally like because she was there because it was and unfortunately he apparently doesn't believe in cock socks or protection. So I'm swinging dick,
Terminator
boys.
1.
Take it or leave it.
Looking at his bio for IMDb, they don't even talk about his kids. They just say he fathered a child with a maid and then led to their divorce, and that was it.
Well, shit, Chris Pratt's married to his daughter. I think Catherine Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
How cool is that to be Chris Pratt, though? Like, you're in Schwarzenegger's family. Like, I would go to every family function if Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger was where I was going. I wouldn't miss one.
It's more
Communion,
Shriver's
sure.
function. But I think Shriver has more of the functions than Arnold does.
You deal with Skeletor for a bit, sure, but I mean, you still get to deal with Schwarzenegger.
And also, they're related to the Kennedys.
Well, she is.
Yeah, but I'm saying now he's also related to the Kennedys.
She is a
so he's got two celebrities in his family
she's
now.
She's an Kennedy. Yeah. Yeah. Don't lose your head over it. All right. So we're all eights. Let's take a brief break, and then we're going to come back with the masterpiece of cinema known as Eraser.
All right. Last movie for the night.
Wow.
Again, this is another night where like his earlier stuff is better. But so Eraser. Came out.
Long movie.
Different movie. Eraser. This came out in 1996. It's directed by Chuck Russell. This one had a budget of $100 million. Box office was $242 million. This is, I will say, not one of Arnold's best movies, although it is a good action movie.
You know what? It's the last of his Commando style movies.
Yeah.
It is. Think about another movie.
His last Army of One type movie.
Yeah, the next movie he did with any sort of action was End of Days, and then after that, you have Last Stand, but this is the last of vintage Arnold.
End of Days is a great movie, though. It didn't make our list for
it's
this
a
month.
Different Arnold, though. He's not an action hero. He's actually does some acting in that movie.
Yeah.
Besides yelling
check it out
incoherently. You've never seen End of Days?
I've never watched End of Days.
Okay, so
not because I don't want to. It's just it never came up in time, and
it's a different type of movie. Like it's a thriller. It's so when you think of End of Days, it's like Stigmata mixed with Seven.
Yep.
Okay.
So like the devil basically comes to Earth, and this girl that has been predetermined is gonna bear his child. So like he inhabits Gabriel Byrne's body. So you have Gabriel Byrne playing Satan. It's a very much a horror thriller. It's a good movie, and he his whole thing is his wife and child were murdered because he testified against the mob or whatever.
Yeah.
So his first scene in the movie is he's thinking about eating a gun, and then he makes a disgusting smoothie.
Like I said, it's not that I not for the lack of me not wanting to watch it. I never got around to it, and then it just fell off my radar for fucking all these years.
Frankly, it's the type of Arnold that I would have been okay with if he would have kept up with that sort of shit instead of full-blown body count movies. Instead of going into politics, I think he would have seen a certain level of seriousness.
A whole different level of Arnold movies.
If he would have never entered politics, I think you would have seen an Oscar-winning Schwarzenegger, and I'm not even joking. But unfortunately,
it just proves from last week to this week how he progresses with time that he was actually learning.
Well, look at Maggie. The movie's boring as shit, but he's good in it.
That's the like
Zombie Child movie.
Yeah. Zombie Child.
Walking Dead. Rick Grimes is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Coral. Coral. Coral.
I want to see time fly.
I went to the beach.
Yeah.
Stepped on some coral.
So in this movie, what's his name? Kruger. John Kruger.
Or Eraser, they call him in the titles.
Yeah.
It's John Cougar Mellencamp. Be respectful.
Yeah, I know.
He basically plays
I like him too. No.
Like whatever version of witness protection program on crack would
He's
be.
like U.S. Marshal, Black Ops. Like that's the whole thing. Is his career before this, which would make a good prequel movie, is like Shadow Ops.
You know how they have Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter, and Super Street Fighter Hyper Edition?
Yes.
Is this like the EX
he's
Hyper
Ultimate.
Edition?
This is the Hyper Edition. Yeah.
With all the DLC included. Rambo and John McClane are both coming to Warzone, by the way.
Yes, I see that.
Maybe worth purchasing the battle pass for. I'm not gonna lie.
We'll see. Yeah.
Is it just you can play as them as a skin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If it's John McClane and his white Dago tee, like I can't hide in bushes with a white Dago tee. You know
it's gonna be the Adler fucking guy.
Oh, is it just a skin on Adler?
You know, I'm saying Adler already has that look. He's in the white Dago with the fucking IV sticking out of his arm. I wouldn't like that.
We'll see I'll have to see how they look. Sorry, Lewis. Tangent.
I don't know what I was going to say, but it was about the movie.
Sorry.
Oh, the opening of this movie. So he comes prepared with dead bodies.
That he stole from the
that
morgue.
he stole
From the county morgue.
And you would think that because he's U.S. Marshal, he would have some sort of like better vehicle other than like a fucking car, just a station wagon.
Did anyone else notice that his truck at the end of the movie is basically his truck from Commando, but nicely done up?
No.
I'm pretty sure it's one of the like.
It looked like a Explorer type.
Well, no, that was the Chevy something Bronco. It was like a mix between two big cars that I think Chevy may or GMC may have produced. I'm almost positive it's the same fucking style of vehicle, except it's painted up and done nicely and everything.
Ooh.
So I do the beginning scene where he replaces the bodies with the dead bodies. He calls the cops. The one thing that kind of took me out of it is he calls the cops. He's still like setting up the house to catch on fire and all that. And in my head, I was like, why didn't he wait to call the cops until he was ready to drive away?
Don't you pay attention? This doesn't work without an audience.
Yeah, it doesn't work without an audience. Exactly.
I know, but like almost to the point where they could have lit his ass up as he's driving away.
The fallacy of the logic is like they have to be right down our ass.
Yeah.
Also, the type of neighborhood they were in already, wouldn't the neighbors have already called the cops from all the
Probably.
The new sweet neighbors, that Italian fella, got some flashes going on in the house over there. I don't know if he's got fireworks or what.
We're already suspecting him to be something because of the way he talks to us. Like,
by the way,
something going on.
Ninja Schwarzenegger's kind of cool, but out of experience, has anyone ever gone into the kitchen at 2 a.m. and experience how loud it is when there's no other noises to open and close? Like, him breaking somebody's neck in the freezer is going to be more than a thud. Like, I can't get milk out without clanging into something.
I'm sorry, him dressed in a ski mask looking like a ninja G.I. Joe, too, was just over the top for me.
Call me Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
And then the moves that he was pulling off,
the most ridiculous one is on the docks when he does like the 180 flip down on two guys. He literally does acrobatic moves. Like, no,
I thought you were going to say that Liu Kang is sweeping the foot.
Fucking bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not. And then, like, I know that we're jumping around, but at the end of the movie, the image I have, rather than him just lifting the debris, he goes, and he, like, smashes it for some reason. And then he's still got to lift the shit, so I don't know what that does.
He got two cool guns out of it, though.
You know, you've got classic
that
kind of
shoots aluminum.
Like, as cheesy as this movie is, you have classic Arnold type shit. Like, it really is his last hurrah saying goodbye to the body count movies. Like, where they go to attack the girl, and the premise is a woman works for an arms dealer, high profile. They're planning on selling weapons that shouldn't exist, which are mobilized rail guns, basically to a Russian interest, a Russian terrorist. She discovers the plot, works with the CIA. Things go horribly awry. James Cromwell wasted in this role, but he ends up plugging himself in the head. She basically becomes target number one for all the corrupt government entities and the weapons manufacturer and everything. And he's brought in to protect her because he's U.S. Marshal Jesus.
Yeah.
So, and that's the basic premise. And the thing about it is this movie's goofy. Like, yeah, you have the airplane scene, which is terrible green screening. There's no logic in it whatsoever.
I love it. It's so bad.
Like, the only true line in that entire scene is when James Caan is like, I can't believe you got me with this cheap plastic piece of shit. Like, that's the most true line in the entire movie.
Mail order piece of shit, yeah.
Like, but things that just don't make any sense, like, when he's like, have I done your evaluation? And the kid's like, evaluation? And he shoots him to death. You just shot a gun off in an airplane. You'd be fucking deaf. Like, they didn't even use a silencer. Like, these guys, you're not that tough, motherfucker.
Plus, the pilots didn't even realize that he shot him. The pilots were part of that guy.
They had no idea that he was a dick until, like, he puts a gun to their throat and he's like, run him over with the plane.
Yeah.
By the way, we have Schwarzenegger from this scene, whips the parachute, jumps out and protects himself like this. This is how, by the way, if you're going to go through fire at fast speed, this is how you protect. You just, and you'll be fine. And then he finally gets, with some of the worst CG in the movie, his, like him going in, like how he's pretending he's actually skydiving.
Yeah.
And then,
did anybody see Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
Right there, the whole thing when he jumped out with the parachute.
Yeah.
He went after it. That's what I was picturing the whole time.
And, so the whole concept is he gets his parachute. He's doing his little. For some reason, he opened his parachute at 25,000 feet, and they literally, this goddamn 747, they turn it around in the sky, and go to run him over with it. Lewis, what does he do to defend himself?
He whips out a giant fucking piece. I think it's a Desert Eagle.
Because the one guy had a Desert Eagle. And I remember it was the shorter dude in the back, like the Italian-looking guy. In the scene where James Caan's like, I like my odds. He's literally just holding the Desert Eagle I'm pretty sure it is that guy's gun.
But not only that, this dude pulls his chute at such a high altitude that I'm sure holding that gun would be very hard because it'd be fucking whipping back and forth.
Is anybody else having trouble breathing? I feel like the air's a bit thinner.
Yeah.
The amount of muscle he has too. The oxygen it would take from him, he'd be like, oh, the goddamn plane is coming. Like he'd be out of breath and shit.
No, and the fact that he's got to try to turn himself around, so he's like,
yeah, that little like.
It's only funny too because Arnold is a big dude. I'm sure if it was a smaller guy.
Yeah, that's true. If it was Kyle Reese, he'd be like, all right.
But
yeah, that's the other thing. Is like, what's the weight
limit? Pull
limit?
it to the side, and then just like it would have spun around instead of him going.
Well,
like
I thought if you pull them both down, like you start to descend, or is that to inflate?
But that's the thing.
When you
Arnold's,
pull up,
Arnold's so strong, so just imagine him pulling it, and he just rips the cords off the actual fucking thing.
And then the little girl has one of the best lines in the movie where he's like, "Where am I?" And she's like, "Earth, welcome." She was cute.
The way those two kids need to fucking learn to fucking the amount of money,
the barter system.
Yeah,
I felt bad for the father. He's like, my truck, you son of a bitch! Like that poor guy's working to the bone every day to afford bicycles for these little bastards.
Well, they're in a junkyard. They probably put it all together. That's the best thing about having a fucking junkyard. You can build whatever you want.
And so, like, literally the movie, and I don't want to get, this is a trap we try to avoid, which is we're not doing Schwarzenegger's commentary when he's like, yeah, this is when I shot this guy, and then I do the move, and then I shoot him, and then, this explosion. Like, listen to his commentary, he's just literally saying what's going on screen. I don't want to do that, so it's basically the movie is a collection of action set pieces of him basically rescuing her, losing her, fighting off his own enemies. James Caan is so horribly miscast in this movie. Like, he's just out of shape and old at this point, and he's supposed to be, like, Schwarzenegger's somewhat equal.
He's not believable as the guy who trained him.
No.
Even for somebody who's about to retire. He's not believable.
He's terrible. Like, here's the thing, he's not a bad actor, but he doesn't fit the profile of the character at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have used James Coburn better because he was at least tall.
Jesus Christ, James Caan is 81 years old.
Yeah.
Shit.
He's
Call
also
me
been married
an
4
elf
times.
again, my friend.
Whoa.
He's another Nicolas Cage. He leaves it all on his heartstrings, on his sleeve.
Good for you. When someone told him never give up, and he's just followed that.
Never surrender. He watched Toy Story. I won't.
Holy shit.
I'll keep plowing young ladies.
7 years older than Arnold.
It's just.
And look at the two of them in that fucking movie.
Yeah, and look at Arnold at Caan's age of like 55, 56, or whatever it is.
The Wikipedia highlight picture of him looks like he's on his fucking deathbed. It's not a flattering
dude.
picture.
Like, that's the thing, is he's terribly he's as badly cast as Bennett was.
Yeah.
John, I'll be waiting, John. Okay. But here's the thing, it's got the cool Schwarzenegger shit. Like if you're looking for a late '90s Schwarzenegger movie that is a body count movie, and True Lies because it's not on Blu-ray and you broke your DVD trying to pull it out of the case, watch Eraser. It's literally he dual wields rail guns. Yeah, well, yeah. No, I have a lot of versions of that movie. But actually, no, they don't make it on Blu-ray. But I ended up doing the direct to DVD or the disc to digital on Vudu for it.
Okay.
And then also Amazon Prime is running it. The problem is there is no true 1080p transfer. So even the one on Vudu is basically the cable version, so it's 1080i upscaled, so it's not good, but it's the only digital version you can watch. Amazon Prime has basically the same version. I tested them, believe me, because I was like, maybe they released a version I didn't know existed. Nope. It's all shitty quality. There is no Dolby Digital 5.1 True HD Blu-ray. There's no Dolby Atmos track. James Cameron has been so steeped in Avatar blood, he hasn't been able to get back to it.
Yeah, he's planned out the next fucking 42 Avatar movies.
That's the one truly sad thing about True Lies, because it's such a good movie. It's a classic, in my opinion. Across, not a Schwarzenegger classic. It's a classic action film.
Is that in our list?
It might be. We have to see. Yeah. We got to do some retooling, maybe.
We got to see.
But that's the whole thing. Is like, this movie really is like. It came out after True Lies, and it's like, how do you follow up True Lies? They tried to. They made a big, explosive, action-packed, violence-packed, cursing-packed movie, and unfortunately, by '97, audiences were changing. His beloved audience was getting older. The current kids at that point weren't Schwarzenegger wasn't the bee's knees, and then nowadays Schwarzenegger's toxic masculinity. Any one of these movies that RoboCop, Total Recall, Terminators, any of them where there's a big tough guy is now considered toxic masculinity. That's why you don't have these movies anymore.
Yeah,
you still have them. They're just not promoted as.
If you have them, they're the ones that you like. Revengement that you see on Netflix, where it's like, oh shit, that movie is pretty badass. Dead Man Down, which is a pretty decent movie that's random from 10 fucking years ago. Like that's the thing is like. That's why they don't make that's why when we talk about how the current market doesn't have these style movies, it's all because people are so worried about what they can be offended by that a big muscular dude kicking ass is now toxic. It's toxic. My question is, if you look at all these quote unquote toxic masculinity guys from the 80s, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Hulk Hogan, they've all got strong-willed independent daughters. So if it's so toxic, then how do they produce such strong women? Like Alec Baldwin's daughter, who is one of the biggest SJWs that's out there, talks about toxic masculinity, and it's like, my father was toxic. Well, you seem pretty independent. You seem pretty strong-willed. You seem like you know what you want in life. Where did the toxicity, where did that fact, I mean, I understand there was the drunken phone call where he called you a pig, but, realistically, like, look at any of these tough guys from that era that made these body count movies. They've all got strong daughters that they've raised. That's not a coincidence.
Stallone has all daughters, doesn't he?
Yeah, and they're like taller than him too.
Jesus, poor guy.
He's like 5'10" or 11, and they're like 6'1".
But then again, he also made Rhinestone Cowboy. So, you ever seen that or no?
That's not.
You're saying toxic masculinity, but
that's not the name of his skin flick. It's not.
You've never seen it? You've never seen it?
I don't know what movie you're talking about because there's a legitimate skin flick he's in, and then
no, him and Dolly Parton made a fucking movie together, Rhinestone Cowboy, where he's a country singer.
I think Matt's thinking of Italian Stallion.
Yeah, there you go. Why the fuck would I watch that? And think about when I watched these movies, Alex, when I was a kid.
But you were saying toxic masculinity, but I said he also made Rhinestone Cowboy, where he was a cowboy.
Love story or
no? With Dolly Parton, no.
Fucking no.
But he wanted to be a country singer, and he became a country singer.
Does he actually sing though?
It was a joke that just fucking lost.
God, that makes me want to see it even less now. Stallone singing. No, I'm not even gonna try it. Yeah. Weird Al fucking hit it on the head when he made fun of Rambo. So, Eraser is one of these movies where. What's
I
that?
never even knew there was a porn with him.
Yeah.
His
never even knew.
first thing was a skin flick called Italian Stallion, and they didn't. That wasn't the initial title. They named it after Rocky came out. Like he did it, and then it released after Rocky. Like it became bigger. Yeah.
Shit.
He
I
was.
never even knew about
that's
that.
where I don't even think he shows wiener. I think it's just ass and stuff. But yeah. I don't
The
know.
Fox quote.
Yeah.
I don't even think he shows wiener.
But
just ass and stuff.
it's a negative quote. He's like, he doesn't even show wiener. Like I'm angry about it. I'm Rudy. Show the dick, guys. Yeah, and that's the thing is like you have to watch, like we talked about last week. You got to watch these movies with a certain perspective. Like these are movies not meant to be looked through the looking glass of modern times. They're just not. Like, and a lot of movies are like that. A lot of the, and it crosses all boundaries. A lot of the early Spike Lee movies would not pass, but they give him a pass. But if we judged his shit upon the same standards we do everything else, there'd be a lot of problems. I mean, that's why Eddie Murphy's comeback is so fucking slow. Right now, he's trying to figure out what the waters are like. Because if he comes out and says shit people don't like, is it going to be the death of him, or does he become a new martyr like Chappelle, where it's I don't give a fuck? Like that's the thing, and that's the culture we live in right now, where people who want to be the people we relied on to be creative and entertain us are now shackled by us because everybody's worried about being canceled. Directors, writers. Look at Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen comes out and says he's never going to work with Dave Franco again because the accusations.
Yeah.
And the accusations basically were Dave Franco was a dick and used his powers, which then because the actress was Asian became a racist thing. So Seth Rogen, being the PC SJW he is, comes. I'm never going to work with him again. And then the girl comes out and says, "Well, that's not enough." Frankly, who the fuck are you to tell me it's not enough? You side casting little pissant.
Is that a new thing that just happened?
Yeah, he just came out and talked about the Franco things.
But it's been happening since 2017, where he actually said he's not going to work with him anymore.
Well, no, he just in a new article officially declared it.
Yeah, but it happened in 2017 where he said I'm done, and they haven't worked since. And then he said it again. But also Franco before that had problems with I guess Anne Hathaway and.
I mean, here's the thing: if he's a piece of shit, he's a piece of shit. I don't like the virtue signaling of it. Because if you really want to talk shop on it and you want to be true to it, right, then you would take all the money, or at least a large sum of it that you banked off of The Interview, Disaster Artist, The World's End, all these, Pineapple Express, all these movies you were in, you would then go, oh shit, you know, Rod, you're completely right. I enabled his behavior. I'm donating this to the women's shelters of America, or whatever the organization is that these people choose. But it's all bullshit. It's all virtues. It's all trying to, so I still have a career. Because the thing about Seth Rogen, he's one of the biggest fucking loudmouths on Twitter. So he's one of those people that I would love to see his true fucking self. Because as soon as it comes out, he's canceled. And he knows that. That's why he does what he does. You know, so that's the problem is you have like, I'm sorry, but fuck you. I don't care. You know, yeah, if Franco's a douchebag, sure, I'll drop him. But who the hell are you to tell me it's not enough? Fuck you. I'm sorry, but the way it used to work is I have the power, I make the movies, be better, and you'll get your movies greenlit. You know, not that that's proper, but it's enough. Why are we letting these fucking hypersensitives control the entertainment industry? Everybody's shackled. It's horseshit.
That's why 80s movies were a simpler time.
I mean, yeah, you know, they were all a dream, or were they real? Question. You guys got anything?
Total Recall.
Always. You guys got anything else you'd like to add in for Eraser?
No, I mean, like you said, it's kind of the last bastion of his like.
It's popcorn body count movie.
Yeah. I do have a question I want to ask on your guys' take on the opening scene sequence. Was that just filler, or was that something that actually has to do with the time that everything was happening? Because there's a thing that flashes where it's 1989 for like an ID or something that they're burning. Like when they're trying to get rid of people's IDs.
I think that was the fall of communism.
Okay, so they had nothing to do with like anybody's age or.
I think it was supposed to demonstrate. I honestly don't know, but I think it was supposed to either that or it was just how long he's been working. Or
burning documents. Yeah, okay.
It's, you know, maybe it's him burning because he burned her shit. I was trying to get a time frame of when this movie was supposed to take place,
and something flashed on the screen of 1989, which would have only made this, if it was real time.
It's not set in it's set in the present of when it was made. Because look at the computer system they have.
Yeah, because I was just trying to think of like how they were, like what's the youngest age that he fucking erased, and also the thing you said about the computer system. They were trying to make things about the technology, how they were dragging and dropping his fucking dental records. Why was that such a main focus?
Because back then, literally, I have a tablet.
I know.
Yeah, we have the tablet pads sitting here, but back then it was like, oh, that's advanced. These must be a special organization. Like, and it's all slow. Like, you could tell, like, if it's me, if it's us in the modern times, like, this piece of shit. Like, I got a 144 hertz monitor. God damn it! Like,
3200 BT. What is it?
Yeah, DPI. Like, this is 4 DPI. What the fuck is going on here? There's a bunch of goofy shit like that.
Those are just like the two things that I figured out from the beginning that I was just like, what the fuck?
And then there's terrible lines, like not even from him, like James Caan when the guy's like, "You're early, you're late."
Yeah,
like it's just like there is
They did open and close with your line though. You've been erased.
Oh, I hate the beginning one though because Arnold goes in,
Smile.
He snake eyes all of them, and then he's like, "Don't move, you're dead." And he takes photos, and then the dude appears out of nowhere and takes the badass line. Smile, you just been erased, and he gets to close the door. Meanwhile, Schwarzenegger's driving home. He's like, "I can use some Arby's." Like he's just thinking
he's got to wait to the entire end of the movie to actually say
he's been erased. And that's to James Caan. Yeah, and it's like, but one of the big things that I pointed out to you guys off air is he's got tattoos in the movie.
Yeah,
I've been watching this movie my whole life, and have never noticed that on his right arm, and the only shot you see it, and I swear to God, the next shot that disappears, is he's got like military tattoos all on his right arm from like his, but it's just literally one shot. And I'll show when I edit it, I'll put a photo of it so you guys can see. It's ridiculous.
It's the yellow Porsche of this movie, as you said.
Yeah.
And then like they have promotional artwork that he clearly either did before filming or after, with that same arm with the gun, tattered sleeve, no tattoo in any of the promotional artwork. It's like they filmed or planned to film a backstory about the tattoos with him and James Caan, and then they abandoned it. Like they were supposed to have the same tattoo.
And it would have been exposed, but they had to figure out how to expose James Caan's arm.
And then they basically...
How do we do it? He's covered in fucking garbage. What do we do?
Yeah, it's like, where does his sleeve... Like, the only time his sleeve tears is when he hits him with the knife and he gets off the plane, and he's, like, rolling it up and wrapping it, like...
That was another thing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, the other thing was how quick they fucking got fingerprints.
Well,
the plane crashes.
He even says it, though. Coburn says it. He's like, fingerprints already, huh? That was fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what?
How do you not know this fucking guy is dirty? Like, he's clearly a piece of shit.
All the signs, it's like fucking neon signs pointing at him.
And then they drug his water, so he gets a nice sleepy time on the plane.
But I like how they played that though. Like he's like, no, you want this, and he gives him a Pepsi, and then he takes the fucking thing down and he actually removes the whole thing.
If I'm the rookie though, I'm like, no, I want a regular Pepsi Pops. I'm not fucking geriatric like you who needs to watch his sugars. Come on. Fuck you. But then you have like the guy who's in he's in Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick. He's older in that movie obviously, but he plays the lackey to James Caan, the tall guy that kind of talks like this. Sounds like he ate a fucking box of razor blades.
He's in Chronicles of Riddick?
Yeah, he is in the beginning of it. He's on the bounty hunter ship that tries to capture him, and he's actually in more of the movie at the end when the prison guys, when they try to deal to get money from them for Riddick. He's that crew.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to rewatch all the Riddick movies.
Pitch Black still holds up. Riddick, it's good, but it's okay. And then the number 3 is pretty decent, but you could tell it's lower budget. But the writing, the acting, the violence, it's all on point. I like all the actors in it, so.
The 2 games were both fucking awesome.
Well, see, the awesome thing about the games was you got the first one, right? And this was before remasters were a thing or anything. So then when the second game came out, you got the first game remastered along in the new engine along with the second game. It was
Yeah.
when that came out. It was amazing because you got 2 games in one for $60. They used to do that when Far Cry first came out for Xbox 360. They had a Far Cry Something Instincts, and it was a brand new, separate from the original Far Cry, just for consoles Far Cry game, and it had the Far Cry 1 in it, plus the Prime. I think it was Primal Instincts was the second one. You got both games for $60. Like they used to do shit like that all the time, but now it's like, hey, by the way, I know you just spent $60, but there's this season pass for $40. Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
And then we're gonna charge you every month.
Yeah. Oh, you want that's the nice thing about it if you're a PC gamer. If you want Game Pass or any of the other subscription based, you can do it, but you don't need online or any sort of service to play games on Steam. That's why PCs will always kind of be better, because think about these foreign countries that have to import the consoles, and they jack up the price because of that. If you have a PC, not only is shit cheaper across the board, but then you open up the bootlegs. It's much easier to download a bootleg than try to figure out how to scrape together and get a legitimate video game. Not only that, but PC games across the board go on sale more often, or just cheaper in general.
Yeah.
That was a weird diatribe.
A little bit.
All right, let's give it to Quanos, unless you guys got anything to say. To my fucking
well,
face.
Really quick recast. Any ideas?
Yeah. Oh. So you got to get a guy who's in his 40s. Because how is he going to be Mr. Shadow Ops and everything and be like 27?
You got to get a
Right.
James Caan replacement that actually makes sense.
Mad Milk and... No, I'm joking.
He's been used 3 times this week.
I mean, you got to get somebody who's in his maybe early 40s, and you got to get somebody who's like 10 years older than that to be the James Caan, but who's still in good shape. I mean,
What about like a Ron Perlman as like a James Caan? Or is he too like maybe he might
if you're trying to make a direct-to-DVD version, sure.
Any thoughts on Bruce Willis? Like a reprising of his role, like or his career.
I mean, he'd have to be in the James Caan role.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He'd
James
have
Caan,
to be
yeah.
Caan. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because it would revamp his career. It would give him another rejuvenation.
I mean, if you had Bruce Willis because of his movie career that he's had, the whole spiel of like I've bled for my country and I didn't get paid, that would give him more credence because he is well, once again, he's out of shape. Like you're literally going, but I guess if you have a bigger age disparity, so if your guy is Bruce Willis for Khan, you go mid 30s for the main guy, because that way maybe 40.
Kind of green, but not.
Well,
not
I mean, if
fully...
you do, well, how old's Bruce Willis? Is he in his 60s at this point?
Well, yeah, we would be like kind of James Caan-ish, like
Well, no, I
he'd be
mean
the
like
older guy.
Bruce Willis's legitimate age. Like, what is his age?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Because if he's in his 60s, you can get an actor who's 45, and his character would still have 15 years experience on Arnold, theoretically.
How old is
however many years?
Frank Grillo? Or no, he's in his 50s.
He's in his 50s. He would be a good version, version for Schwarzenegger's character. He's just
55.
short.
He'd be like in his 60s, I believe. Don't hold me on that.
That's the thing is, Grillo's a little old for Schwarzenegger's version of character. You can use him as the villain though. You make. So Bruce Willis is 66. So you can use somebody who's 40, 45. That's 20 years on him, which means he can have another 5 years or even 10 years experience, depending on how you want to work it. That all depends on when
From the movie that I see that he's coming up in made straight for DVD or whatever, he's still in good shape. He's just not spry.
He's average older white guy shape.
But he's just not limber. He can't fucking do the backflips and shit.
Well,
like
he
that.
made a joke when
when
they did Die Hard 4. He was pissed off because he actually worked out and got into better shape for the role. Then he wears the long sleeve shirt the whole time. There's a behind the scenes thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I worked out and everything, and this is what I'm wearing." Yeah, I don't know. Like the Schwarzenegger role is going to come down to the same fucking category of people. I'm going to be honest with you, and this would unfortunately, because of his profile, automatically move it into the B movie. But I'd like to see like a Scott Adkins. You add some legitimacy to the tough guy role. He's a legitimate martial artist. If you want to see him in a movie where it's kind of balls to the wall, check out Revengement on Netflix. He's really cool in that fucking movie. Like, you give him that, I would maybe like that sort of thing. I hate to do it, but I think Henry Cavill could fit into every one of these Schwarzenegger roles.
Yeah.
except for maybe Total Recall. I don't know. I think you need somebody with a little bit more
Grittiness, like
less proper.
facial.
Yeah, exactly. Well, did you guys see Jensen Ackles with his beard for his role in The Boys?
Yeah.
Dude's jacked.
Oh,
He
they're
looks like
filming
fucking
season 3,
Terminator,
right?
or no? He looks like fucking kindergarten cop.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Oh, he's got a
when I
thicker
saw
beard
that-
though. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit! Is that fucking Arnold?"
doesn't even look like him. Doesn't look like Ackles at all. I mean, there's the thing is there is actors out there, but the problem is we also gravitate towards like the well-known. But I mean, the problem is you want well-known because it's AAA production. We're not talking. This isn't like I think Colin Farrell. He's maybe a little too old for these sort of roles now. But when he did like Total Recall or this movie Dead Man Down, he was in legit good shape.
Yeah.
Like he when he was ripped, he was in really good shape, like better shape than he was completely for Daredevil. Like in Dead Man Down, he's got a smaller but very similar physique to Ryan Reynolds. So it's like I can see him in a lot, and I like that. I think he's a good actor. You guys seen The Gentleman yet?
No, I've not.
It's on Vudu. Check it out. It's Guy Ritchie, and Colin Farrell plays like an old boxing coach. There's a whole scene where like these like late teenagers accost him in an ice cream shop, and he tears them down. It's such a good fucking. He's so good in that movie. Anything he's been in later in his career, I find like he's decent in it.
Check it out.
That's like fucking Cobra Kai, where fucking Johnny gets bullied outside his liquor store, or outside his studio.
Yeah,
and he beats up fucking teenagers.
Basically. I don't know. The other, Vanessa Williams, you could recast as virtually any female actress out there.
Yeah.
Right now.
Although she was not the greatest actress, but she did play a better role than half the other actresses back then at that time.
Yeah, I actually never had. I don't have a single issue with her.
Horrible.
She has her scene in the movie where she pulls the chair arm up and hits the guy in the face with it. Like, she's not a dumb character, so I've never had a problem with anything she's done in the movie, to be honest with you.
Right.
Except in the script where she calls her friend like a moron, but.
Yeah.
And then you have the whole, one of my favorite scenes is when they go to kill her, he's got the balloons, and on the back of his shirt it says "Let's party." Let's party. And then her fucking.
I actually said it in the same voice.
Her ex.
When I read it.
Right? It's "Let's party." You got it. You only hear it in that voice. Her ex-husband gets fucking railgunned into the wall. And here's the one thing that I found very stupid at the end of the movie when he dual wields the railguns. Why doesn't he just sit in the warehouse and pick them off through the thermal vision through the
because it wouldn't be as cool.
Not as cool.
Like literally just a sniper scene. Got him. Like the Chuck Norris meme where like he's firing the rifle and the people are like falling down on ice and shit.
Johnny C, what are your thoughts on that character?
Which one was Johnny C?
He's the guy he fucking you've been erased. He's the guy from the beginning. He's the one that goes back to for fucking food. Back to the and he gets made. He's fucking Tony C's cousin.
Oh, is that? Yeah. When in the beginning of the movie, that's his most annoying line. He's like, "I haven't had a decent meal in 6 months. I'll fucking die." And it's like you're gonna literally die, dipshit.
Yeah.
And Schwarzenegger's even like, "There is no next time."
Yeah.
I do love his character though. In the nightclub that he's working in.
Yeah.
He's like, don't let
on that I'm straight.
Yeah. He's like, he worries
like, I don't
want
to break any hearts over here.
His buddy's like, "Who's he? He looks rough." He's like, "Don't start right now. He worries about me." Like that's the thing about this movie is it does have the comedy campiness that like you want. Like frankly, as cheesy as this movie is, dude, I would take this over a lot of modern action movies because they don't have the vibe. Like you don't get these much anymore. That's why when you get a good one like Hitman's Bodyguard, movies like that, that's why you love them so much because this brand of movie isn't made anymore. Like, there is no movies that go from, like, haha, one-liner to murdering 10 people inside of a zoo. I miss them. I do. I mean, look at every great 80s movie, that, like, great big action movie, in 90s even to that point, that don't have some sort of comedy to them. Don't have something to alleviate the fact that, like, they murder dozens of people.
I haven't seen Hitman's Bodyguard.
Dude, it's really good. Like, I love the movie because throughout the entire film, they set it up to it's like one scene Ryan Reynolds shows his badassery. One scene Samuel L. Jackson shows is badassery. They have great chemistry. That's the whole thing is like Hitman's Bodyguard is a modern day buddy cop comedy without the cops, and they do it right. Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds have a bunch of great lines in the movie. Selma Hayek's in it. She's good in it. Like, it's one of my favorite modern action buddy cop movies because it is really good. Well, it's on Vudu. It's worth the watch.
I want to check that out, and then I think I might want to see the sequel as well, just to
Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. It's one of those movies that you don't expect to be good, and then you watch it, and it's one of those like, fuck, I kind of want to watch it again. That was really awesome because it's really funny, and I mean, there's a lot of action in it. I mean, there's a whole scene where they're going through Amsterdam, and Ryan Reynolds is on a motorcycle, and Sam Jackson's on a fucking speedboat in the center channel, and Ryan Reynolds is literally like providing him cover, and he's got like an MP5, and he's firing it across the way at like these, because the whole thing is Gary Oldman is very corrupt. He's basically a tyrant, and they oust him from his presidentship for his country, and he's going on trial. And Sam Jackson is like a hitman, but he's the witness so they're trying to get him to the witness. And there's some pretty deep lines in the movie. Like there's one where they have this back and forth where Sam Jackson's basically saying he's the good guy because all he does is kill nasty motherfuckers. And Ryan Reynolds is kind of like, and Sam Jackson's like, well, yeah, so who's you protect nasty motherfuckers. I killed nasty motherfuckers. And he's like, you and I do the same thing. And Ryan Reynolds tells him, no, we don't. We're different. He goes, how? And he goes, I don't decide whether my clients live or die. You do. Like it's a surprisingly deeper movie. It's good. I can't wait for the sequel. It's one of my favorite of the modern action comedies. Oh, by the way, on the iTunes, I did get Saw the first one, 4K. So
I saw that.
Yep.
You saw that.
That's out there. I look forward to that. Actually, it's the number 1 and 2 are the only 2 Saw movies.
Every now and then, I look at the recent purchase just to see what you picked up, and I'm like, holy shit, that's like 4 movies this week.
I picked up Watchmen 4K Ultimate Cut on Vudu for $10 this weekend as well.
Oh, shit.
I didn't realize I didn't own it digitally, and I actually been wanting to watch it recently. And it's probably going to be one of those movies I watch by myself over the course of several late nights. And I saw it was $10 for the Ultimate Cut 4K, and I was like, dude.
Extra blue penis.
I don't give a shit about that. I just want. Here's the thing: is people like to dog that movie, but it's the most. No, I
found it funny. I found it funny that that's what people complained about.
Of course they do, because Billy Crudup's digital wang is showing. Billy Crudup, but so like the whole thing is like. I like the whole movie because it's so close to the comic. Like like we talked about the problem with Watchmen, and we have to review that at some point. Just that movie because it's 3 hours and 3.5 hours long for the Ultimate Cut. So we'll do another Snyder cut on that one.
Oh shit!
Also, we do have. We're gonna have to think about post Schwarzenegger. There is a couple movies we're gonna want to review with Army of Dead. That's definitely on the docket. So we'll have to figure out how to fit that into June somewhere. But that's definitely something I know we all really want to watch. So, and I've heard good things so far. I've heard there's some legitimately scary parts to the movie.
Okay.
There's a scene apparently that involves a hallway, and it's either flares or glow sticks. But apparently it's a legitimately terrifying thing. The only thing I'm not happy with is they did replace Chris D'Elia, and they replaced him with Tig Notaro, which I don't like her brand of comedy. And frankly, I don't think she'd have the profile she has had she never had cancer.
I've never seen her comedy. I've only seen what she's done in Star Trek.
Post cancer, it's all about her struggle.
Okay, but I like what I see in Discovery.
I don't like the fact that they took him out of the movie for things that weren't even illegal. I mean, realistically, like we want to play. Once again, society wants to play games. It's okay for this, but not this, and but this is okay if you're this, but not this. I don't like it. I'm tired of it. Let people live. So what if a fat Russell Crowe wants to fuck 19-year-olds? If she's happy, what do you care? Do I find it weird? Yeah, but let him live his fucking life. He's gonna have a heart attack sooner or later. Like, I mean, he's eating tons of BK or something at this point.
As long as the age of consent,
there's nothing illegal but the fuck out.
I just recently saw somebody say something about their families celebrating their their parents X amount of years married, and the mom was I think 15 or 16 when they got married, and he was 20.
Well, it's also the
So
dichotomy
way
of
back
it.
then it was okay.
But the dichotomy of it is also George Clooney. His wife is 20 years younger, or 15 years younger than him. He's not fat. He's not ugly. So they don't say shit. Russell Crowe's a big fat guy. So all of a sudden, this disgusting old man's dating a 20. No. George Clooney's got old man balls too, my friend. Okay, if we're gonna call it out, let's call it out across the board. Demi Moore gets it too. Madonna gets it too. If we're not gonna do that, then shut the fuck up about it. Let them live their lives. Either all in or shut the fuck up.
Does George Clooney's balls touch his thighs? I'm just curious.
Only when he sits in the toilet, he gets the water
Oh.
and it's cold, and they shrink back up to.
They go back up. Okay.
Somewhat normal young man size, but as soon as he's
Or
out
is
of
it
the toilet-
or is it very quietly, drifting back up?
I'd imagine he has to tape them to his leg, so it doesn't look awkward when he's out and about. He's not a young cat.
You didn't get it about the being very quiet. The fucking movie Midnight Sky. All right, we're good. How quiet the movie was, for most of the thought,
Oh, I didn't think we were bringing that movie up. That was like the
Yeah, it was just me trying to be subtle, but it didn't work. I was trying to get you to react.
That's like the He Who Shall Not Be Named movie. What a depressing
I was trying to get a
piece of
reaction.
shit. I haven't felt that bad from a fucking movie in a long time.
Let's rate this movie.
It hurt to watch that movie. In my watch list, I recognize the movie itself is realistically a 5. I'll give it a 6 on the watch list because it is a movie I really do like. It is a movie that if I'm introducing somebody to Arnold, it's on the watch list. It's just not before any of the Terminators. It's not before Total Recall. It's not before Twins.
Yeah.
So 6, I think, is a fair placement.
6 for you.
6 quadros.
Yeah, I would. Oh man, I'd probably put it. This one's low on the list for me. This would be a 4 out of 10.
I knew through your text, watching it at this age, you were like, fuck, man, I don't know. And that was a little hard for me.
It's weird. A lot of these Arnold movies that are not like my staple top 10s. Watching them now, it's a bit different.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of Conan. I like it, but that's a movie that the problem with Conan is you can't watch it as a serious movie. Like, you have to watch it as like, Arnold's gonna talk about, I hear he's doing the glow sticks.
Well, watching it for the first time ever, yeah. Watching it the first time ever, though, seeing it, it's like, okay, wait, this is something different.
Well, the other problem with that franchise is they ruined it by making Conan and the Destroyer, and then they made that a vehicle for Red Sonja, and they ruined the entire franchise. Like, the first one is a legit badass, like, R-rated movie, and then you had
there was a shit ton of bad acting in that fucking movie.
Oh yeah,
is a given.
Well, you also had basketball players playing Vikings.
Yeah,
so like.
And they were very bad at it too, carrying a fucking big ass phone.
That's one of his most high profile, highly regarded movies, where it's almost like people ignore the cheese. Like, it's so ingrained that they love it that like they aren't as critical about that as they are as his other movies. Yeah. Which, I mean, frankly, it's gonna be a goof-on fest when we do the review because it's a goofy movie. I mean, nobody. It's not an Oscar.
I still love
movie.
it, but yeah, it is. But I still love it.
It's just like Eraser. Eraser's one of those movies where you watch and you're like, this is a goofy fucking movie, but for 2 hours you're goddamn entertained. Even if you're Michael Scott cringing, you're still watching.
So I recently just started watching this, and you and I were talking. You're like, hey, were you watching it the other day? And I was like, yeah, that was me, and I never finished it. No, it was Eraser.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that. You saw it popped up in continue, and I was like, yeah, that was me, and I think that was the first time I've ever watched it ever.
Really?
Yeah, and I made it through halfway through, and I was just getting like aggravated because that's not the Arnold that I.
It's late Arnold, yeah.
Yeah. So as it was going on,
vintage Arnold, yes.
So then I watched it again today. I made it my last movie, and I fucking watched it again this morning, and I watched the whole thing through, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was at first.
The other thing is we're watching such quality movies that you go from Total Recall, which is a decade earlier, and the CG's better.
Yeah,
It looks nicer.
And I was having a problem. The only thing today with gripping with at the beginning, it's like it's a technology based movie. You know, it's a technology gun that you're trying to push, and then here they are showing a fucking pen moving something very slowly this way.
Well, not only that, but the
and then
technology
this way.
doesn't make sense. Like, you can't erase a disc like that. You can't erase the disc from a... And then literally, like, he handles it like Schwarzenegger, where he's like, it's erasing the goddamn disc! And he breaks the PC.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work that way.
With that type of shit that goes on, when how they were trying to push this movie as a technology, that's what I felt. Like it was supposed to be a technology advanced movie.
Yeah, well, the whole idea was like the best Macintosh from 1996.
Yeah, and it really wasn't. But going with everything, yeah, I'm gonna say 4.5 because I did like it.
4.5 Quado.
Yeah, 4.5 Quados. So that would be 4.5. Would be 4 Quados and then George hanging out.
Oh, just his head.
Yeah, and no Quado.
we didn't
George,
point
no
out
Quado.
that the dude who plays Quado, the actor, is also in Twins as the assassin coming after him.
Yeah.
Marshall,
Yeah.
I think Marshall
We
Bell.
didn't get to that shit.
Yeah, I forgot about that completely. But yeah, I do like the fact that you notice Schwarzenegger becomes friends with these actors and then they start showing up in his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
You
brings
gotta
them back
give
a
him
lot.
credit. He seems like a genuinely decent dude. Like, yeah, I know he had the cheating scandal and stuff, but I've never had that problem, so I can't say I understand. But in the same token, considering you're him, considering what you used to do when you were single in your bodybuilding days, and you maintained incredible shape the entire relationship. You've got your Schwarzenegger. You've got women. You're a rock
it's only
star.
one side. It's only one side that we really know because we really don't know fucking Shriver.
Well,
we
she's-
know Arnold
I
because
mean,
we see him in all his fucking
By
movies.
looking at her and the fact that she's a Kennedy, I can guess the arguments weren't very nice.
But and we don't know what she was like, So, and I'm pretty sure he was still like, hey, I need somebody who's gonna fucking cover me at this
Well,
point.
see, that's the thing is,
You never know.
Generally speaking, cheating is
You never know.
a mental thing. Like, for him, it seems like he maybe struck a conversation up with her over the time she worked with him. He was always there late. She was always there. It is what it is. He's human. He makes mistakes. But the thing about it is, you also got to judge him on what he did. He didn't abandon the kid. He didn't abandon her. There's all these photos of him go every holiday, every birthday he's there. Like, yeah, he hid it from the industry, but that's his fucking right. Like, who are we to say you have to show us all your dirt?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, that's why people, it was such a shock and they were pissed at him. But it's like, not everything that they deal with should you be privy to. Like,
Wait, he's not the robotic killer that we see him in the movies.
yeah, like,
he's a
in Kindergarten
He's not
Cop,
like
he was
the
such a charming man. It's like, no, that's not what fucking
killed many
works.
people, but he's having sex now.
Yeah, right. How dare he? And by the way, if you're surprised by it, go watch Pumping Iron, you fucking fools. That's Schwarzenegger. That 27-year-old Schwarzenegger is Schwarzenegger. He's the same now that he's single. Deal with it. You don't like it? Fuck off. With that said, we'll see you guys next week with the third week of movies, which are, Lewis?
Oh wait, no.
Wait, no,
Oh,
not
wait,
we're
yet.
not
did we forget?
done.
What did we forget?
So
There
we've
has to
eliminated
be,
one. We've
There
eliminated
has to be a
one.
winner.
Holy shit.
So-
yeah, okay. Go
As-
ahead.
as
So
per score.
next week we can decide the winner of the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But there has to be a winner for this week, and hear me out. Here's my
I know what he's going for.
well, no. So I kind of flip flop. Obviously, Eraser is a great movie. It's not gonna beat Kindergarten Cop or Total Recall.
No,
Right,
it's
so
the
that
easy out.
I wanted in my head initially it was Kindergarten Cop would be the winner because it's a good interpretation of the other side of Arnold. Like, it's an action movie, but you get a lot of the non-action. You get drama. Arnold is fucking hilarious in it.
I mean, who doesn't
But-
love the 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, reading, writing, arithmetic?
But
Too much
Writing
homework makes me sick.
arithmetic, that would have been funny.
But
He did it all 3 hours.
the more we talked about it, to me, Total Recall is it I think should be the winner, because like I said, that movie is it's a very interesting sci-fi movie. Arnold is awesome in the action scenes as well.
You see a great range of his acting that had developed at that time too. Like the fact that he's playing two roles theoretically.
Yeah.
You know, he's supposed to play just kind of your average everyday guy transforming into a superhero, and then I mean,
just him just fucking being cheesy as fuck.
Yeah,
though.
That's you know what it is that's Verhoeven, man. Because think about RoboCop 1 when he kills Bob. He plays the video of and that's like one of the main. You know, I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. You know.
So I also think that's what tips that movie a little bit past Kindergarten Cop. If that movie was not directed by Verhoeven,
it wouldn't have been as good.
No, exactly. So I this is another one where it's like neck and neck.
It would have been
like
Kindergarten Cop, but
because of the director for Total Recall, I think it just pushes that movie way past.
I'm in agreement. I think Total Recall takes it as well, Alex.
Total Recall was my guess from the fucking beginning when we made this fucking.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be the answer. I knew it when we first said this. And here's the big problem. These are going to be going up some really heavy hitters in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I think Matt knows mine originally was going to be Kindergarten Cop.
Via your text, you were like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go that way too, but even when you were saying that, in my thoughts, I was like, no, it's a different movie, and yeah, I don't know. I was figuring that you were going to say that, but I was surprised at what you just said right now.
So then next week we'll start off the discussion with Commando and Total Recall. I don't even want to think about it right now.
I mean, I think I know what my answer is going to be, but I don't know. Jen, we're watching both those movies again.
Fuck, man. Running Man, Predator, and Conan.
Here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to lie. Straight up, Alex is probably going to differ. Conan's the easy one for me.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to differ from it, but that is one of my favorite movies. But here's the thing.
I may watch it and be like, fuck, I didn't realize I liked this movie so much. I haven't seen it in a while. We got to buy it or find it streaming, too, because it's not one of my tops, I don't even own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another week where Predator and Running Man are both good fucking movies.
And that's the thing that's the real dilemma for me. Predator and Running Man, bro, like, there's so many good lines for both, too. Just like, here's Sub-Zero, now, Plane Zero.
Mac.
Yeah, Mac, you son of a bitch. One of his most famous. It's going to be a hard week on the vocals and on the voting. Well, guys,
drink lots of fucking fluids with honey in it.
Yeah, you're going to see me drinking tea through that episode. Everybody, we're done for this week. Come back next week. We'll have week 3.
Not over.
Week 4 is going to be the live episode where the winner take all. That's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. Yeah. That's going to be like, next week's going to be difficult. Week 4 live is going to be fucking difficult.
Yeah, there might be
some. We have to culminate all of them.
There might be some knockdown, drag out arguments for week 4.
And those are just going to be to ourselves. Like, we're literally going to be going, no, Terminator's but fucking True Lies, man.
Well,
like,
so my thing with week 4 is before we choose a winner, we have to eliminate one movie, and the eliminating the one before we choose one to go to win is going to be an argument, because like, how do you say one of these 3 cannot even be considered to be one of those movies? I don't even want to think about which movie to fucking eliminate.
Think of it this way: before we even start, you got to eliminate 2 because you got the past week's winners.
The past week's winners, yeah.
It's not eliminate 1; it's eliminate 2 out of the 4.
And then here's the hardest thing that people don't realize is our listeners that our text messages. That's why I ignore the fucking shit out of a lot of them.
I don't understand. You're so rude with that. Because then it's like I talk later and I reference something we texted and you clearly didn't fucking read it.
I did, and I try to ignore it.
Why?
Because I like to keep our conversations fresh because it feels better to me. I don't know. I like the.
But you do understand by not engaging.
A lot of that other times too is I am busy doing shit, even though I'm sleeping. I'm working. No, I'm not. No, I haven't been sleeping in a long time.
It was all a dream.
No, you're not sleeping from 10 to 6 a.m. You're sleeping from 6 a.m. to 1.
No, not even that anymore.
You need to stop doing the cocaine.
Yeah.
Cocaine.
Killer, it's
Cocaine.
killer, man.
Cocaine.
Deviated septums. No.
Yeah, right. Shoot it in the eyeball.
Ugh.
No, but it's just tough. I like having surprises. I like, and that's what it is. I like being surprised with the conversations we have.
Yeah, but
I like them first.
The biggest issue I have is like, by Lewis and I talking in the mornings, there are a lot of ideas thrown around that if you don't read it and I text you later and reference it, it's like there's literally been times where I've texted you something in that chain and I say Alex ... referencing like when we're gonna stream or something, and then I get a text like 10 minutes before we're supposed to go live, and it's like, well, it was in the chain, mister.
Yeah, well,
Alex, before we end, have you seen Last Action Heroes and True Lies?
Oh, I
Yeah.
hope so. Okay.
You have seen both? Okay.
yeah, many times. Last Action Hero is one of my favorites.
And here's the thing: people are gonna be mad and maybe argue that Last Action Hero doesn't deserve to be where it is, but I 100% think it does.
I will fucking fight someone's first child.
True Lies and Last Action Hero are actually two in my list of movies of Arnold.
The funny thing is Last Action Hero is the same, I think, for all three of us, and it's one of his worst performing movies.
Yeah.
Box office wise, yeah, it was a flop.
Still one of
Didn't
my
you find
fucking
an action
favorites.
figure of that?
My wife found one for me on Facebook Marketplace of Arnold,
Nice.
and when we hit week 4, that bitch is not coming out of the box, but it's coming out.
You should buy another one and take one out of the box.
I don't even. She hunted that one down, so I'm too lazy. I'm the guy that's like, it's on sale at one place but not on the other. I'm like, I could wait.
I remember seeing a shitload of those toys in Suncoast video, man. For
I remember one of the
fucking $3 or
few
$4.
times we went to FAO Schwartz. Like I remember we were maybe Meyer when Blade 1 came out. They had badass action figures for him that were like fully posable, had the sword and everything. And I had one of those, and my dad was like, "What the fuck is that?" And my mom was like, "It's from a movie."
I think McFarlane Toys should come up with all these fucking old action and horror.
Well, they
shit.
are starting to make them, but they're $30. Remember that one you sent me?
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Target has like the high quality new ones, but they're expensive as shit.
Which probably cost them fucking $2 to make. And
And
fucking,
some child isn't sleeping to make toys, but we gotta pay an arm and a leg for them.
exactly.
All right, guys. With that said, fight world hunger or something. We'll be back with you next week for more Arnold. Until then, you guys stay sweaty.
See you next week.
Watch out for jets.
Bye.